High school sports fans, are you following Varsity Media on our YouTube channel? For the best coverage of New York high school sports, make sure you head to youtube.com/varsitymedia. 3 easy steps. First, hit that like button, and then be sure to subscribe. And finally, tap that yellow bell to be notified of all of our upcoming sportscasts. Thank you for following Varsity Media on YouTube. Hey Mom and Dad, how about a personalized hype video of your athlete produced by Varsity Media? Cinematic coverage of game action, plus on-camera interviews by our crew set to music will make your son or daughter look like the next superstar. Perfect for social media fame and college recruiting. Don't wait, reach out today. Spots are limited this fall. 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people. All people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
Stadium here at Chaminade High School. Varsity Media Sports Network presents the CHSFL Showdown between the Gales of Iona Prep and the Flyers of Chaminade. Today's CHSFL Showdown is brought to you by Catholic Health, as well as Speed Island. We thank today's sponsors. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Here, a bright and sunny Saturday afternoon here at Gold Star Stadium. Dylan Butler alongside John Perez bringing you this opener in the Catholic High School Football League for both Iona and Chaminade. And John, these two teams, listen, Iona is a team that we know. We saw them a year ago in the championship game. They have those championship aspirations again this year. And for Chaminade, they proved they belong in the AAA. Now it's about moving up the rung into the elite.
Yeah, two teams that are just trying to get to that next level when it comes to Iona Prep. Probably the best team in the CHSFL AAA over the last 10 years, and Chaminade, a team that just continues to build and to build. Ran into a juggernaut last year in the playoffs, but when you start with Iona Prep, they're just a team that has been the class of New York State football, whether it's down here or winning state championships. And for Chaminade, they feel like they're knocking on the door, and they're ready to go.
For the Gales, they come into this game off of a Week 0 loss to Bergen Catholic. They're also missing one of their top players. But before we get to that, we'll show you some players to watch. Offensively and defensively, these are two guys who already have major offers. You see Rowan Byrne, still just a baby bull there as a junior. Great size. You see Notre Dame, Michigan, Ohio State among the offers, and Teron Johnson as well, 3-year starter on the defensive side of things in the secondary. He has a host of offers as well.
Everybody loves those skill positions, and it always seems like the marquee spots. But how do you win championships, Dylan? You got to win them in the trenches. So we'll start with Rowan Byrne. 2-year starter. I mean, he probably could have started on any other team in the CHSFL as an underclassman. He's been fantastic and a big part of the reason why Iona's offense is able to open up and be very dynamic. Meanwhile, on the other side, Teron Johnson, he's got his own island out there, a little a la Darrell Rivas. It's going to be tough for Chaminade to throw into that area because he can cover so much ground and he keeps receivers in front of him, and if they get behind him, he's got the speed to make it up.
Those are the guys who are here for Iona. A big miss, though, is on the defensive front, and that's Jalen Hicks, who Iona coach Joe Spagnuolo argues, and it's hard to argue against him, might be the best player in this league, a guy who will play in Sundays in probably 5 years' time, out 4 to 6 weeks after suffering an injury in the fourth quarter.
And for most teams, that would be a devastating blow. But with the depth that Iona Prep has, not to say that it's not an issue, but they feel that they've got the skill positions and the depth to make up for those, to make up for that absence. And it's a short season when you think about it, right? The timetable is 4 to 6 weeks. Let's say it goes long 6 weeks. He's really not going to be in his full shape unless Iona gets to a championship, whether it's down here or in the New York State. But with that said, that breeds a new opportunity for some of these other wide receivers and other skill position players to take over at the next step.
And that's what Spag said as well about Hicks. He will be ready for the most important games of the season. For Chaminade, they are a team they did not play in week 0, but they played in Albany against CBA, a last scrimmage, a last sort of rehearsal for the season. And they're a team that a year ago reached the semifinals, losing to St. Anthony's, and 2 guys who are back from that team who will have key roles. Listen, Jack Tully had a key role last year. He is back as that featured back. And famous Seamus Miller following in the footsteps of some very, very good linebackers here at Chaminade.
Yeah, we'll start with Miller to begin with. Defensively, he's just fantastic. He's a ball hawk. He's always around the nose of the football and always around to play. We've called him famous Seamus, and for big reason, and you'll see why today. He's always around the ball, a fantastic open field tackler, and someone that can cover a lot of ground. Meanwhile, for Jack Tully, one of the luxuries of having Jack Tully is that Kevin Dolan and the rest of the offense, they don't have to change it that much. So what it does is it allows Chaminade to continue the playbook from a year ago. They run the same thing from JV all the way up to varsity. And when you've got the explosiveness of Tully and you're going to get a lot of carries, he's probably the most conditioned back in the backfield as well. It gives Chaminade a lot of options, and we'll get to see their brand new quarterback as well. But you're always going to be fine when you've got Captain Jack in the backfield.
I like it. Captain Jack and famous Seamus. Nice nicknames here for the 2 Flyer players to watch. And again, it's a team, Chaminade, that they proved they belonged a year ago. Now it's an opportunity, especially here in week 1, to get that signature win, right? And Iona's a team that they've always struggled with, says their head coach, Kevin Dolan. They've gotten wins over a lot of the other big dogs in this league, but Iona's always kind of been that thorn in Chaminade's side. So an opportunity here right away off the bat. And you see some of the keys to the game for both teams, starting with Iona.
Yeah, when it comes to Iona Prep, you want to eliminate the unforced errors. I think the biggest thing, obviously, for both of these teams is going to be taking care of the football. Having said that, though, field position is going to be huge, especially with the playmakers on both of these sides. You don't want to spot Iona Prep premium field position. Same thing, you don't want to give Chaminade a short field as well, because they've got probably one of the best kickers in New York State, if not the region. So that means that you're always going for points and putting them on the board. For Chaminade, control the ball, the clock. You've got a new quarterback out there as well. The game's going to be going 10,000 miles a minute for him, I'm sure, that first couple of series before he gets comfortable. So you really want to make him comfortable. And then special teams, like we said, being critical, tackle in the open field, and part of not giving up premium field position is tackling when it comes to those special teams.
Iona Prep, when we spoke with Joe Spagnuolo this week, coming off their 38-7 loss to Bergen Catholic out there in Oradell, said we did not take care of the football. So cleaning up those mistakes, and that's really what he said too. He said this week, and it's no offense against Chaminade, but it was very much about Iona and cleaning up their own room. Again, a lot of younger guys maybe taking advanced roles, and you go into the belly of the beast out in Oradell to take on a Bergen Catholic team that did have 2 additional weeks of practice as well to get ready for that opener. So it'll be interesting to see here how Iona responds off of that week 0 loss.
Yeah, listen, it's a tough task to ask somebody to just get ready for a team that's probably one of the best in the country. Oh, and by the way, they've got an additional 2 weeks of practice, and for whatever Iona Prep had, they have to go out there. But for Kevin Dolan, I can't remember Kevin Dolan in his 8 seasons being here be more excited coming into a season, especially with the group of guys that he has. And he's really excited for his linemen. He's excited for the linebackers. And, I mean, you could just see it. His enthusiasm jumps off the phone when you talk to him. Chaminade, there's a lot of reasons to be excited, but they're going to have a tough first opening weeks, obviously with Iona Prep. They've got Paramus Catholic later on. It's always a bear in the AAA, but he feels he's got probably one of his best teams here in the last few years.
Kevin Dolan, a thumbs up. Ready for this one. I'll tell you what. If you installed Iona as a favorite in this one, whatever the points might be, 7, 10, I don't know, you have a conversation with Kevin Dolan. He has you believing that the Flyers will be right in the thick of it here this afternoon. Flyers making their way out to the field now. Famous Seamus leading the way with the American flag. It should be an exciting one. Joined there by Nick Rinaldi, the starting center, two-year starter on the offensive line as well. It is Iona. It is Chaminade. We'll have the opening kick and all the festivities when we return right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people. All people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
Hey sports fans, did you know Varsity Media live stream broadcasts get viewed by college coaches nationwide? Through our announcers' storytelling and insight on your athletes, we can help your players get an edge on college recruiting. Find out how by reaching out to Varsity Media today, 516-403-2050, or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Varsity Media is the most beloved high school sports network in New York, but don't take it from us.
I like how Varsity Media, I'm able to watch the game on YouTube after, and then commentators, all the highlights. It's cool to see myself almost on TV.
I like how Varsity Media is so professional.
What I love about Varsity Media is hearing Coach Hungerford announce games.
Mr. Rooney's my favorite.
I like the food reviews.
I love how my relatives from out of state can also watch the games.
Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
Hey Mom and Dad, how about a personalized hype video of your athlete produced by Varsity Media? Cinematic coverage of game action, plus on-camera interviews by our crew set to music will make your son or daughter look like the next superstar. Perfect for social media fame and college recruiting. Don't wait, reach out today. Spots are limited this fall. 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Inside the 10 to the end zone.
Oh, he's got a wide open receiver. AJ Duff. Get out of the way! Dante Torres! The end zone. Touchdown.
10-5 touchdown.
We welcome you back to Gold Star Stadium. Here, Dylan Butler, John Perez, the entire Varsity Media crew as the captains of both teams lining up for the opening coin toss. You can see with the crutches there, Jalen Hicks opposite Nick Rinaldi. Certainly a big loss for Iona. Spag said it as well. It happens in the fourth quarter of a game that was already sealed, right? So that was a tough one, certainly for Iona. But if there's a team that can survive losing an all-league player, maybe the best defensive player in the league this year, it is Iona.
Yeah, it's a tough loss. I think the big thing, too, is that he's still involved around this program day to day, which is a good sign to see. You know, he's not hiding, put his head in a hole or anything, or not hanging his head. He's somebody that will at least play a part in between the ears for his fellow teammates and root them on, and I'm sure he'll be their biggest supporter over the time that he's on the shelf.
Yeah, quite literally, their biggest as well. He is a big human being. You can see that Chaminade there won the toss. they deferred to the second half. So interesting there for the Flyers, right? They're electing to kick the ball and play defense right away. So we'll see how that.
You know, I've always liked that strategy, and I'm kind of curious your thoughts because we've been around the game for a while. But, yeah, it'll be a good opportunity for Chaminade second half, and we'll tease that when we come back.
Yeah, you'll get my thoughts when we come back here from Gold Star Stadium. You're watching the CHSFL Showdown on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people. All people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
Hey sports fans, did you know Varsity Media live stream broadcasts get viewed by college coaches nationwide? Through our announcers' storytelling and insight on your athletes, we can help your players get an edge on college recruiting. Find out how by reaching out to Varsity Media today, 516-403-2050, or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Varsity Media is the most beloved high school sports network in New York, but don't take it from us.
I like how Varsity Media, I'm able to watch the game on YouTube after, and then commentators, all the highlights. It's cool to see myself almost on TV.
I like how Varsity Media is so professional.
What I love about Varsity Media is hearing Coach Hungerford announce games.
Mr. Rooney's my favorite.
I like the food reviews.
I love how my relatives from out of state can also watch the games.
Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
Hey Mom and Dad, how about a personalized hype video of your athlete produced by Varsity Media? Cinematic coverage of game action, plus on-camera interviews by our crew set to music will make your son or daughter look like the next superstar. Perfect for social media fame and college recruiting. Don't wait, reach out today. Spots are limited this fall. 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Inside the 10 to the end zone.
Oh, he's got a wide open receiver. AJ Duff. Get out of the way! Dante Torres! End zone. Touchdown.
10-5 touchdown.
Welcome back to Gold Star Stadium. Dylan Butler, John Perez. That's Joe Spagnuolo in his 8th season as Iona Prep coach. 1998 grad, won a AA championship as the old QB. Went on, played at Siena and Bryant. Previously an assistant head coach and OC at Archbishop Stepinac.
Said that he's the only coach in the league that is himself. He is genuine, and by that he means there's nobody else like him. He comes from a different breed, self-appointed breed, but a fantastic guy, a very good leader of these young men, and has them believing, even after taking a tough loss in week 1 and an injury, that it's right back to square one and opportunity still ahead for the Gales.
How about this as well? Spagnuolo's last game as the Iona Prep quarterback, a loss to Chaminade in the AAA quarters his senior year. So Tim Tomlinson kicking off here for Chaminade, and this one will not be returned, and that's part of the thing here for both teams. Terrific kickers, Sam Bassesi for Iona, Tim Tomlinson as well, and there's a new play caller for Iona Prep. Of course, a year ago, it was all about a Johnny Shepard and what he was able to do as a dual threat quarterback. Shepard now at Rutgers and leading the offense. Number 1, Joey Gaston from the Bronx. You see his numbers from week 1. A transfer from St. Joe's in Montvale. Played 8 games of big boy football out in the biggest boy football that there is in these parts.
Yeah, if there's anybody who wasn't intimidated by playing Jersey football, it's Joe Gaston, and someone who's got a good head between his shoulders and someone who can lead this Gale squad.
Gaston quick out, and look at this. A bit of a trickery on the play one for Iona, breaking a few tackles, getting out to midfield is Jared Evans. Received the flip from Dylan Iragovanu. And right away, out of the bag of tricks for Spags is a first down.
Yeah, there's the starting lineup and a very good offensive line. If we could take a look at that first play again, you know, it looks like an easy catch for Dylan Iragovanu, but you know, he has to then catch it and pitch it right away, which is something that's not easy to do with the speed of this defense.
Play number 2, Gaston gets it to the outside. We showed you those starters. Gaston at QB, Springer at running back, Iragovanu, Shillingford, Wolf, and Evans are your receivers. Byrne up front with Mailspin, Pauletti, D'Abrasio, and Nicolau. Gaston now rolls right, goes over the middle, finds another of his receivers. It is number 5, Jared Evans again. And here is the starting defense for Chaminade. It's Welsh, Viscardi, Meliere up front. You've got Nat Miller, Schmidt, Cocciolo as your linebackers. Marshall and Landrum at the corners. Hanley and Cuomo at the safety positions. First handoff to Springer. Pushes forward for a few yards.
Love that Iona Prep's going at their own pace, trying to speed up this big Chaminade defense that obviously has a lot of beef up there. But, you know, it's a warmer day out there. You want to see if the conditioning's intact for Chaminade and see if you could sneak one past this vaunted front line.
Gaston calls his own number. Cuts it inside, and it looks like 51 again with 33, that is, with the tackle, Dean Schmidt.
Dean Schmidt, somebody that's grown a lot over the last few years, played a big role at the JV level and did a fantastic job. He and Eamon Welsh, part of that gang tackle.
And also Schmidt with a kind of big brother, little brother situation, teaming up in the interior of that linebacking core with Seamus Miller. Third down here for Iona. It was Springer in motion. Handoff goes to Crew Davis, and Davis pushes forward. Did he get enough, though, of that push to move the chains? Stopped at the 40. He should be about a yard short.
This is a big decision for Spagnuolo. You can try and pin Chaminade deep when we talk about field position being at a premium. And how about this early test for both the offense and the defense in the first quarter, setting the tone right away, knowing that points are so valuable.
Spags confident his guys can get a yard here. 4th and 1. Man in motion. There's the handoff. Little stutter step, a little sideline to sideline. That was a dangerous run for Crew Davis, but he does get enough to get the first down.
Yeah, and a good job slipping past an open field tackle. And Crew Davis, only a sophomore, but plays beyond his years out of Bedford. 5'11", 180, really agile on his feet and doing a good job sending it wide and picking up just enough for the first down.
Transfer from Brunswick, a fantastic lacrosse player as well. Gaston fakes, flushed out, chased down by Welsh. He gets it off, but it's out of bounds. Good pressure put on by Big Eamon.
Yeah, that big pressure there, and you know, unfortunately for Welch last year, he was trapped behind that defensive line for Chaminade, so he didn't get a lot of playing time, not because he's not a skilled young man, but because of the numbers and the depth that Chaminade had a season ago.
Yeah, you talk about some of those guys up front, an incredible group who graduated a year ago, led by Luke Ventura at nose and Dean Aquilina at end. Aquilina now at Hobart, Ventura at Trinity. So he's 2nd and 10. And again, Davis motions out. Handoff. Nice hole and quality run there by Springer inside the 30-yard line, or right at the 30. Brings up a 3rd and about 4.
I know we're going to talk about depth until we scratch the record or sound like a broken record, but, you know, that's something that Iona Prep certainly has, and I think that they probably have the deepest backfield in the AAA, right? You'd have to imagine with them and Stepanak, and at least showing it off in the first.
Gaston to Davis, cuts inside of the 30, but he's gang tackled. Flying hats to the football, a whole host of flyers, and this sets up a 4th and even longer now for the Gales. A 4th and 4. Good job collectively there, and Gaston, at least it appears he will go. Maybe try to get a hard count, maybe draw Chaminade off.
That's what I thought. I thought it was going to be a hard count, a timeout, and then you get the field goal out there, but Spags has something else up his sleeves.
And again, motions the back out of the backfield. Gaston calls his own number, but Welsh makes the tackle. Eamon Welsh in there, number 3. And Chaminade gets a stop on Iona's first possession.
Well, a big stop for Chaminade, and a good job keeping it within their own 30-yard line. You don't give up the big play. Obviously, you get out of it without giving up points. Having said that, for Chaminade, that's going to be a big key for them because they're so athletic, Iona Prep, in the backfield, including their quarterback and their running back. So if you're able to make those open field tackles even early on like Chaminade did, then Chaminade's going to keep themselves in this ball game and do those little things. They could leave with a W.
Tyler Granito leads his Flyers onto the field. First-year starter this year. Granito, the 6'3", 220 senior out of Central Casting. When you think about that quarterback position.
One of 4 siblings from an athletic family and a good hard count. How about that on play number 1 of his varsity career?
And we'll take a look here at, listen, Granito's even Central Casting like he's going to be the actor playing himself. You see his numbers from a year ago. Again, saw very limited action. Matt Diegas obviously was the guy now playing baseball at Fordham, but Granito, a different QB than Diegas, more of that tactician, that film study guy, knows the playbook inside and out.
I'm interested to see how much they let him throw the ball in this first half, and obviously a play on the first one, not too bad. But, you know, when it comes to Granito, let's see if they let him air it out.
Let's take a look at the starters offensively for Chaminade. Joining Granito, Tully. The wide receivers, Park, Dietrich, Lavellis, and Shamitis. Up front is Trauma, Cottagio, Rinaldi, Galuccio, Gooch, as well as Picarillo.
Keep an eye on Park and Dietrich, 2 very slender but very good wide receivers that can find an open hole, and they've seemed to develop a chemistry over the summer with Granito and really helped him ease into the process of taking over this varsity spot.
Granito. There is that first pass, the outlet, and trying to find Shamitis. That was incomplete. Let's take a look at the Iona starting defense here this afternoon. And Spagnola said we had to switch out a few things here in week 1 because of the injury to Hicks. So Gabe George moves up onto the line with Morris and Lozin. Your linebackers, McCauley, Presley, Huguenot, and Trulson. And your secondary is very, very good and experienced. Corners are Codrington and Johnson. And your safeties are Davitt and Nartley.
Love Nartley and Davitt. 2 very good, talented safeties that will not make it easy for Granito to air it out.
3rd and 4 for the Flyers. Granito looks far aside. That's complete. And you wonder if that forward motion there, and I think they will, they'll spot him at the 41-yard line. There is Park. You wanted to see him? There he is. Although actually,
they'll call for a measurement.
Yeah, I thought he had it. I mean, the official on our side was situated at the 41-yard line. But the far side, it looks like they might have him a little bit short. Which, if he is short, John, that begs the question, you know, will Kevin Dolan go for it? He said field position is so important, and certainly the way Tomlinson can punt the football. Listen, you can angle one out, maybe get it inside the 10 and make Iona go the full field. Doesn't matter. He doesn't need to make the decision. First down for Chaminade.
I was going to say, I got here for warm-ups, and Tomlinson from the back of the end zone was punting it past the 50-yard line.
Yeah.
So he certainly got the boot to do so, but it's the precision that makes him so good. But fortunately, you never want to punt, and that will allow Granito in this offense to continue the flow.
You know, that's maybe one of the parts of the game that isn't highlighted enough or should be highlighted more, the special teams play. But both teams, excellent kickers and punters. Both guys doing both as well. So that should be an interesting one. You got trips right now for Chaminade. Ooh, a little movement there on the offensive side. I think Tully was part of it, but there's movement on the left side of the line as well.
Yeah, and, that's one of the growing pains when you've got a first year and first game starting quarterback. You get those hard counts in there, and you want to be in sync with the rest of the offense, and it just happens, and you want to try and adjust for that as the game goes on.
I think in general you expect that warm afternoon, game 1 for Chaminade, game 2 for Iona. And those are a lot of the things that you kind of get in the warm early days of September. Granito rolls right. Has another receiver. That is complete to Dietrich. Comes up the sideline and gets pushed out at about the 47-yard line. Good-looking reception by Michael Dietrich. Older brother Mason, a starting center last year. Currently now playing at Fordham.
And currently patrolling the sidelines as well. Michael, fantastic. He's someone who's got the speed kind of like Gavin Creel, and someone who did a good job of getting on the same page with Granito and the rest of the offense during those OTAs and 7-on-7s. And look for him to have a big year. He's someone who I think is flying under the radar right now, but could have his name up there for one of the top offensive awards in the CHSFL this year.
Is Mason working security there on the sideline?
Yeah, he's got his arms folded.
Bouncer, yeah.
What's the password?
Second.
Flyers.
2nd and 1. Look at this run by Tully up the middle. Jack Tully to the house. Touchdown, Chaminade. 51 yards. And how about that for the first score of the season? Captain Jack getting to the house.
Hey, I'll run off the plank with that guy. Just take a look. Granito settling everybody down. Good formation at the top, the hard count, but the C just opens up. So a fantastic job for the offensive line, leading the holes by Cottagio, Rinaldi, Galluccio, Picarillo. Feel like it's Sunday dinner at my Nana's house, but what a fantastic job by Tully, and a good first punch for Chaminade against one of the top teams in the state.
Tomlinson almost automatic here at this point. The PAT is good. So Chaminade jumps out to a 7-0 lead, led by Tully's 51-yard touchdown run. You're watching this CHSFL Showdown presented by Catholic Health and the Varsity Media Sports Network.
This is Solomon Thomas with the New York Jets, and you're watching Varsity Media.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people. All people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
High school sports fans, are you following Varsity Media on our YouTube channel? For the best coverage of New York high school sports, make sure you head to youtube.com/varsitymedia. 3 easy steps. First, hit that like button, and then be sure to subscribe. And finally, tap that yellow bell to be notified of all of our upcoming sportscasts. Thank you for following Varsity Media on YouTube.
Welcome back to Gold Star Stadium. Dylan Butler alongside John Perez, and that man deserves a nice drink of water. Jack Tully, the senior Bucknell lacrosse commit from Garden City. Listen, a year ago, 161 carries, 838 yards, 6 TDs. When you talk about the Mount Rushmore, certainly of recent history, at that running back position, you've got Mario Fischetti, you've got Christian Alacqua, and you've got Jack Tully right there among that 3.
Yeah, and he's going to etch himself in the Chaminade history books if he continues to run like that. Fantastic job opening up the hole, brings a lot of leadership, and that's what you want out of your captains, especially when you're going against the belly of the beast in the CHSFL.
And I thought an important 2 series, right? You get to stop defensively, first for Chaminade, and then you score as well on your first offensive possession. So for a team, a lot of guys in different positions this year, that's check marks on both sides of the ball for Kevin Dolan's side.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things, too, Chaminade probably in the rest of the whole league, well, along with St. Anthony's, probably has the most lacrosse players, but he actually welcomes those lacrosse players for football because of what they bring and being part of a team and committed to getting better.
Look at that one by Tomlinson. Back of the end zone. And again, we said it, right? This is often not talked about enough, but if you can get that into the end zone like Tomlinson does so often a year ago, was an expert at that, it's long field every single possession for the opponent.
Yeah, and to know that's a huge intimidating factor for young quarterbacks because you know every single time you're going to have to go 80 yards to score a touchdown. And you're not going to get a chance to return it. And the way that Chaminade Special Teams is able to cover ground, if you field the ball within the red zone, you might not be getting outside the 20. So that's a big plus for Chaminade. Probably the biggest advantage that the Flyers have in the rest of the AAA.
That's Crew Davis in motion again. This time the handoff. Look at that big hole as well for the big man making the run. That's Caden Hewlin, the sophomore from Cornwall. Good size on Hewlin as well. 6 foot. 200 pounds. And a ton of sophomores on this Iona prep team, but I think one of the good things that Spagnuolo does is he gets them involved. You don't want to call anyone up just to sit on the bench, and Hewling, one of those guys, getting the baptism by fire. Now he motions out to the right. Handoff goes instead to 23. That's Crew Davis. And he gets out to about the 35-yard line. And Spagnuolo described this really as a triple option offense, maybe even a quadruple option offense with so many different playmakers at his disposal. I think what it also does too is it keeps the defense honest. It opens up your play action and allows an open receiver in the secondary. 3-yard gain there on first down. This time the out goes to Joe Wolf. And I think we've seen virtually everyone here on our chart of offensive standouts. Wolf, the sophomore from Rye. A varsity basketball player, good size on him as well at 6'2", 180. Yeah, and someone that Iona Prep is really leaning on to grow this year and to be an integral part for this Iona Prep, what they hope will be a dynasty in the years to come. So that moves the chains as it's Iona's first down now at their own 45-yard line. Gaston again hands off. Look at Welsh. A TFL for Eamon Welsh pulling down Hewlin from behind. Welch, one of those guys that's able to just assert his will and push himself past other teams' offensive lines. He doesn't have the biggest girth, but he certainly has the most strength. Loss of 2. Gaston, the out. Another completion. Look at that, a broken tackle. No, the step out there at about the 43-yard line for big 87 Joe Wolf. Yeah, Wolf could have ran for days. A good job hauling it in, getting the first down. And do you see what the triple option offense is doing now? Now you can allow Gaston to get comfortable, get a few completions, and really make a semblance of offense. Wolf still learning the game, but so talented. Real good catch radius, says his head coach. Gaston now rolls to his left, over the middle, finds another of his receivers. It is Crew Davis. And one thing, John, that's certainly Gaston is doing is keeping everybody, man. Everybody's eating right now for those wide receivers and running backs for Iona. Well, he's got a ton of options. You know what else that does too, Dylan? It builds chemistry and confidence, and knowing that, hey, whenever the play is called, the ball could be coming my way. Gaston the out to Irrigovenu. Irrigovenu, that possession-type receiver. And they'll say that he was down. Some physicality a little bit there as well at the 31-yard line. Irrigovenu, one of a handful of guys from Queens. Little carpool action across the Throgs Neck Bridge, maybe Whitestone Bridge to get out to New Rochelle. I don't know who's paying that toll. It's not that bad of a commute if you can drive. No. I just don't know who's got their license. Unless there's a dad who's got a little extra time on his hands. Davis rolls out of the backfield. He'll make the catch there. He has blockers upfield. There is a flag, though. So even though Davis thinks he has his first varsity touchdown, that'll be pulled back. It'll be a holding call. Looks like it. I thought it was against Irrigovenu, 7 on the outside. Could also be against Nate Shillingford. Shillingford threw his hands up right away. I think he knew that a penalty was coming. Either way, that's a big blow. Good break for Chaminade. We'll take another look. See if we get a hold in there. It was hard to see. I don't know if that's enough for Shillingford. You're right. It could have been Irrigovenu. Either way, it's against Iona Prep, and this is going to set him back. Here it is again. Is it 10 or is it 7? I think it was 10. I think you were right the first time.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said, so never wrong.
And Shillingford, a different role as well in this early portion of the quarter. That hybrid guy a little bit. Tight ends. A little bit of a Swiss Army knife, right? Can catch the football, can block on running, although that is one thing that Spagnuolo said. He needs to be better at blocking on the run, and this sets up a 2nd and 12. Gaston pump fakes. He goes long, has a man. That is caught. Touchdown for Iona. Joe Wolf. 42 yards to the house.
Fantastic route running and adjusting on the fly by Joe Wolf. Saw that the secondary bit. There was a pump fake in there by Gaston. That allowed Wolf to be wide open. Here, take a look at how they set up. You got Wolf 1v1 up top. Man goes in motion. Now watch this. Nobody picks him up, throws his hand up after the pump fake. Touchdown, Iona. It's that easy.
Apologies, that was 35 yards to the house. Our first look now at Sam Bassesi. And like Tomlinson, automatic from that position. So Iona responds to Chaminade's score with a touchdown of their own. We are tied at 7, 3:25 left in the first. You're watching the CHSFL Showdown presented by Catholic Health on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's premier high school sports network.
Inside the 10 to the end zone.
Oh, he's got a wide open receiver. AJ Tuff. Get out of the way! Dante Torres! End zone. Touchdown.
10-5 touchdown.
Hey sports fans, did you know Varsity Media live stream broadcasts get viewed by college coaches nationwide? Through our announcers' storytelling and insight on your athletes, we can help your players get an edge on college recruiting. Find out how by reaching out to Varsity Media today, 516-403-2050, or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Welcome back to Gold Star Stadium, 7-7. The score, Chaminade Iona, first quarter. Bassesi kicks off. This one will not be returned. That was the front of the end zone. So like Tomlinson for Chaminade, Bassesi also gets the touchback, and Chaminade's got to go the long field on their second drive of this first quarter.
Yeah, and, that's one of the things that Chaminade has in their arsenal, as does Iona Prep, knowing that you're going to have to go the length of the football field to at least score a touchdown. That's going to play a part later in the game. But, hey, when you've got Tomlinson, you really just have to get to, the 30-yard line, about 25-yard line?
Same is true of Bassesi. Right. He's got an offer already from Army. A 5-star kicker is Bassesi. There's interest as well from Michigan State, West Virginia. And he's filling the role as punter. He had to do that last year as well when Sean O'Neill went down hurt. O'Neill now at New Hampshire. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line for Chaminade. You've got trips right. Tully, the lone back in the backfield, tries to push it up forward. Good job defensively. It looked like that was 42. Vic Hutenot making the tackle.
Hutenot, one of the captains of the linebacking core and the defense out of the Bronx. Someone who, what did he have, 10 tackles against Bergen Catholic? That's
team high, 10, yeah.
Yeah, not easy to do, especially against their offense.
And he's a good combination there with Brennan Presley as well, where Hutenot's more of that run stopper, and Presley better against the passing game.
Yeah, and Presley very instinctual too, which is what makes him so good when other quarterbacks are throwing.
No gain on first down, so 2nd and 10 for the Flyers. Granito looks this way. He was trying to find Park, but Morris gets the pick.
Brendan Park took his eye off the ball. Football pops out. And how about Zakar Morris, the senior out of Wappinger Falls? Not every day that a defensive lineman gets an interception, and premium field position for the Gales. Take another look. This is one that Park probably wishes he had back. Just took his eye off the ball. Saw the footsteps coming in, and that allowed the INT. It happens. Game 1 of the year, and you know now you just want the defense to keep Iona Prep to just 3. I think they would consider that a win.
I think Morris in future weeks will detail that interception. I read the coverage. I came upfield.
He had it the entire way.
I jumped the route.
Probably the best handshake, too.
Yeah. So let's see now if Iona can capitalize off of the first turnover of the game. Gaston, he will go end zone trying to find Irrigovenu, and that was incomplete. I like the look there, first down, right off an interception. Go to the end zone.
There's no better time because your defense, especially in this heat, is a little tired after just coming off the field. You want to see if you can slip another one past them, and I like the play call too, Dylan. You know, I'm one of those guys that you don't have to run the ball on first down every single time, and Spagnuolo is going to forget more football than I'll ever know, but just love that he's airing it out.
Evans again in motion. The handoff goes to Springer, pushes his way forward, and that's that physicality you get from the 6', 195-pound senior from the Bronx. And what a story he was as well. How about this? A year to the day, back-to-back ACLs. He tore his right ACL July 26th in 2021. His left the same day in 2022. He says he feels better than ever now.
Yeah, happy anniversary, July 26th, and he's looking good too.
So is Gaston early on, wrapped up though well and pulled backwards on that tackle.
That was Nick Cuomo, and a good job bringing him down. But, you know, you bring up Springer, too. I think what helps, at least in that experience, is that he understood the rehab process, and so that doesn't allow him to hang his head, say, woe is me, maybe I won't get back. He has been somebody that's been a positive, has turned a negative into a positive.
Spagnuolo knew it right away, too, especially after the first ACL soared. He said, oh, my goodness, here we go again. But has bounced back from both. It looks like we have a water.
So this was something that Nassau County announced the other day, that to resume sports in this heat wave, you have to have a water break every 25 to 30 minutes. So somebody's keeping time of that, and that's exactly what's going on here. I think it was 89 degrees around kickoff, but a real feel in the mid-90s.
It was warm, not that warm last night at Cy Donnelly Field, but it was red hot on the field. Let's take a look at some of the Friday night action here in the Catholic High School Football League. And, of course, it starts at Cy Donnelly Fields, where we'll go to something here. Here it is. Here's some first week matchups. You saw last night St. Anthony's and Hayes. What a battle.
Yeah.
Came down to literally the final second. And the Friars pulling out a 52-50 win. And what a performance there by the Friars.
I think Gary Merrill has probably earned a couple more starts for St. Anthony's in the way that he was able to attack Cardinal Hayes. You know, that was a game in which St. Anthony's, they were up, 37-16? They were up a couple of scores. Could have just packed it in and let Cardinal Hayes run all over them, but the Friars come back and pick up a big W at home. And you know, 1-1 for Joe Minucci looks a lot better than 0-2.
4th and 1. Springer cuts it up inside the 10. Move those chains. Nice hole that was opened up. Looks like on the right side of that line. Pauletti, the senior center, started at left guard a year ago. DeBrasio as well at right guard. So it's a 1st and goal now for the Gales. Irrigovenu in motion. Handoff back to Springer. A little stutter step, and he's pulled down. Another tackle there. That was John Marshall, the captain, the leader, not only of this defense, John, but of the entire team. A guy who just commands respect from player 1 to player 72 on this roster.
Yeah, and somebody that there are a lot of adults out there that can't relate to every single person in the workplace, and he just does a fantastic job at that.
I relate well to you.
Yes, but that's not the entire operation.
Gaston goes end zone, intercepted. So we go one interception to the next. A huge one for the Flyers. And it is William Hanley getting the pick in the end zone.
I would have considered a field goal a win for Chaminade. How about that? Taking Iona Prep off the board, and Will Hanley, what a fantastic guy, the junior out of Williston Park. On the play action, he doesn't bite, picks it off. Great coverage there, and that's not easy to guard Gabe George, and fantastic job there by Hanley in keeping Chaminade and Iona tied at 7.
It jumped right in front of the intended receiver. A huge pick for Hanley. Part of that solid defensive secondary. So we go we go touchdown for touchdown. We go interception for interception as Chaminade will start now on their own 20-yard line. Another handoff up the middle goes Tully to about the 23-yard line.
This has probably been the most interesting game, at least on the flop, right? I see your interception and I match it as well. And just calling forward. But that might be the last play of the first quarter. But a fantastic job by Chaminade's defense. And as far as Chaminade's defense goes, that's how far the Flyers are going to go this year. Obviously, you want the offense to be a big part of it. But their defense, fantastic job not getting intimidated, keeping Iona Prep off the board, and bringing us right back to where we started, Dylan.
And Tully started things off with a 51-yard touchdown run. Then Gaston to Wolf, 7-7. That's where we are at the end of one quarter. You're watching this Catholic High School Football League Showdown presented by Catholic Health on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Hey Mom and Dad, how about a personalized hype video of your athlete produced by Varsity Media? Cinematic coverage of game action, plus on-camera interviews by our crew set to music will make your son or daughter look like the next superstar. Perfect for social media fame and college recruiting. Don't wait, reach out today. Spots are limited this fall. 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Varsity Media offers live streaming services for any sport. With human beings behind the camera, you can expect the proper coverage angles during each game. We offer customizable options such as live scoreboard, multiple cameras, instant replay, graphics, and even announcers. Find out how you can save $100 off a live stream package with Varsity Media by calling 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Welcome back to Gold Star Stadium. Dylan Butler, John Perez, start of the second quarter. Iona and Chaminade tied at 7. It is a 2nd and 7 here for the Flyers. You've got trips left. An empty backfield for Granito. Takes it himself, ducks it under, and a host of Gale tacklers in there. And a short gain on first down. Think 31. Big Gabe George was the first one in there.
You know, that's going to be your introduction to the varsity level, going right into the teeth of that huge defensive line. I mean, you could probably I can't imagine what the parcel's like in terms of the offers that are coming in for any one of those guys up front.
George, 6'6", 250 as a junior. Still a little bit raw. Picking up the scheme, and Spag says this time next year, he will be a Power 5 offer guy. 3rd and 5 for Chaminade. And Tully pushed backwards in the area. Listen, he might be a Power 5 guy by the end of this game, making more tackles like that.
Yeah, not much that you can do if you're Chaminade's offensive line, and he just finds he did a good swim move. He didn't overpower, and that's what makes these defensive linemen so special and so gifted, is what they're able to do and stay light of foot to get to the backfield.
George, against Bergen Catholic, was part of that linebacking core and had to move into the spot that Jalen Hicks exited with that fourth quarter injury. 4th and 5, so the first punt of this game, Tomlinson to do so. Good protection, good air time as well. This one will be returned at the 41-yard line, but not much of a return. Seamus Miller with the tackle as he denied number 9, Adonde Nartley. Here is the Friday night scoreboard in the Catholic High School Football League. And we mentioned that 52-51 win for St. Anthony's. Went for 2 on the last play of the game, or one of the last plays of the game. Won it. And how about Farrell, too, coming all the way back? They were down 21-0 early. They kept Stepanak off the scoreboard in the second half, but their comeback fell just short. But that's good signs, I think, for Farrell. Listen, Rocco Del Priore will tell you there is no such thing, or Del Priore, excuse me, there's no such thing as a moral victory in the Catholic Football League. But those are good, important signs for the Lions as they look to regain their former glory. First down run by Caden Hewlin.
You know, good job coming back against Stepanak. Not an easy task. Not easy for Stepanak to go down to Staten Island as well. And we'll see Farrell on our air 2 Fridays from now. September 22nd under the lights against Moore Catholic. That should be a fun one.
The Lions then electric on a Friday. Hey, they had standing room only against Stepanak. I don't know what they're going to have. I don't know if you can even get even more there for Moore Catholic. There's the flip to the outside. Look at this. Getting down the sideline, running for the score. Crew Davis. The flip went his way, and he goes 52 yards to the house to give Iona Prep their first lead.
Got a huge block down the sideline as well for Iona Prep. Let's take another look. If you love blocking, keep an eye on this right here. Right there, good block on the other side, Iona Prep. That was Caden Hewling, the sophomore, opening up the seam, and Iona Prep goes in front.
So Davis gets his first touchdown run of the season. And Besessi in, some movement there. And Besessi kicks it out of Gold Star Stadium. I don't know who wants to park behind that end zone.
That homeowner's insurance rate has to go up during football season, right? I'd imagine, especially with Tomlinson over the last 4 years. And, you know, you've got soccer matches here. It's
How much do you want to think the Iona bus is the opposite side? There's 2 buses lined up. How much do you want to bet that Besessi has a wager going out with some teammates that he could hit one of his buses?
No doubt. No doubt. I would.
Right? So here we go. There's one of the homes. Look out. Hopefully you're not home right. Or maybe do you get to keep the football? That's the question. As that one is up, and it is good. It bounces across. I'm not sure what street that is, but bounces across the way. So Iona Prep takes the lead for the first time, 14-7. And again, utilizing their multiple threat offense, John. A lot of different guys involved, and Davis, the most recent one there, to get the touchdown run.
Yeah, and that was established in the first half with the offense, right, Dylan? Getting everybody fed and all well adjusted, and a good job by Gasson and the offense. And it just seems like Iona Prep is all believing right now. They're making their big-time blocks. They're getting just enough yards, and they're clicking on all cylinders.
Take a look at the broadcast schedule, and we head back out to Cy Donnelly Field, a big one. Battle of the Bridge next weekend, which means that St. Joe's Montvale makes the trip. I think last year those 2 teams combined for like 130 points out at Rutgers. Should be another barn burner. And then Paramus Catholic coming here to Gold Star Stadium. That aforementioned battle, Moore Catholic, Monsignor Farrell, Iona St. Anthony's rematch of last year's title game, Chaminade St. Anthony's, and then Chaminade Kellenberg. A lot of rivalry football here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
If you haven't already subscribed and are following on social media, then what are you doing? You got to get there.
And another one into the end zone, and we've got a way for you to do that. You know, we used to tell you to hit that subscribe button. We are going even better now, and what you can do, and we'll show you it in a moment. You can hit that QR code right there. Just scan it, top left.
I'm sure there are a few viewers at home thinking, somebody going to come in my door right now and subscribe for me? No. Scan the QR code. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow us on all our social media platforms.
So let's see what Chaminade's done. Listen, we've said before, you went touchdown for touchdown, interception for interception. So now Chaminade, the ball is in their court. It's their opportunity now to respond to Iona Prep's touchdown, and they'll have a long field to do so. 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Granito fakes the handoff, goes over the middle, and nice knockdown there by Vic Huguenot.
Yeah, and one thing that Kevin Dolan said this week talking to us is that Iona Prep always seems to have a point in the game where they start to take over and things are going their way. You don't want it to happen in the first half, and especially for a young quarterback like Granito, you'd love to get more points on the board and at least keep pace with Iona Prep. And, just keep an eye on the Gales because they have a way of locking all the doors, closing the windows. They know they're a veteran football team. They've won a lot of football games over the last 7 years, and they have been a huge part in the success in the state.
2nd and 10. Twin receivers on the bottom of your screen. This time another handoff. Look at the run up the middle, bouncing off to the outside. Tully cuts inside as well. He's finally pulled out of bounds at about the 33-yard line. Michael Dietrich wanted to block for him. He got in the spin cycle there.
Yeah, I think Dietrich didn't think that he got through initially and then got surprised when he bounced out. Either way, positive yardage for Tully. That moves the chains and keeps it moving for the Flyers.
And here's a new wrinkle for the Flyers that we've not seen really in Kevin Dolan's 8 years. You've got 2 quality running backs. It's Peter Gerbasi now in the backfield with Tully getting a little bit of a rest.
Someone who's like an old-fashioned fullback as well, has a lot of girth and could pick up some blocks.
He did just that over the middle. Complete! And how about this one? He goes from attempted blocker to receiver. Dietrich gets the first down for Chaminade.
Yeah, fantastic pickup. Dietrich slipping past the open field, and good job of reading the secondary to get there. 47-yard pickup.
One thing about Dietrich, he's got Gavin Creo-esque speed. And a guy, too, who part of a host of former Massapequa Mustang alums as part of this team. And a guy on the younger levels went both ways, but Kevin Dolan immediately says, listen, we've got enough football players. We don't really have two-way players on the varsity level.
And what it does is it allows other guys to get their reps and become football players themselves, and good football players at that.
And there is Gerbasi pushing forward, getting a few yards, avoiding the big mitts of Zakar Morris. Gerbasi, 5'10", 175, different runner, but he does have that juice that Tully has. And Dolan says you can see a little bit of what he saw from Tully last year in Gerbasi this year.
And I think a big part of him getting playing time this year, too, is he's got good hands. So he's another option in the backfield as well for the Flyers.
And it gives Tully that opportunity to get a little bit of rest, right? And he didn't have that a year ago. So that's important for a guy that we know will get all the carries. 161 a year ago for Jack Tully. So 2nd and 6 for the Flyers. Tully back in. Granito over the middle. Look at this. Look. Oh, that was incomplete. Dietrich was there, but a tremendous breakup by Jaden Codrington.
Great coverage there. We know the good hands of Dietrich. Take another look. I like the throw. Fantastic coverage.
I think against almost any other team in the league, that's a completion, and you're looking at a 1st and goal for the Flyers. But that's what Codrington brings. 3-year starter back there for the Gales.
Taking out the sword and cutting the offense's chances, at least almost midway through the second.
It's a big one here, 3rd and 6 for the Flyers. The Gales crowd chanting defense. Handoff, Tully pushes forward, and he did get enough, it looks like. All right, yes, he did. No, he did not, sorry. Gets out to the 29-yard line. I was looking at the down marker and at the back end of the sticks. So 4th down for the Flyers.
Well, and this is where you can roll with one of those decisions, right? Do you go for it? Do you have Tomlinson? Wind is blowing left to right, so it's not necessarily going out. But they're going to go for it at least now, or we'll see if Granito can have a hard count and not psych out his offensive line.
It is 4th and 5. You've got to get to the 24-yard line for a first down. Granito back to pass. Look out. The pressure comes. Knocked down. Look at this. The Gales fumble recovery. And Presley will dance in to the end zone. The hit was put on by Declan McCauley, number 40. And then Presley said, "Thank you very much." And the sophomore gets the fumble recovery touchdown.
Fantastic job penetrating the offensive line, and it's too easy for Brennan Presley. All the credit for Declan McCauley. The weak side linebacker, someone who can run at 22 miles an hour, so tough to keep in front. And Granito didn't see him coming. It was like lightning and a flash coming in. Fantastic job.
Yeah, Presley, just an instinctual football player. Here's another look.
Bang.
There's the hit. And looks like from about, the 41, so 59 yards to the house for Presley. The Sesse's PAT is up, and it is good. And Iona has taken some control here midway through the second quarter. Consecutive touchdowns, a fumble recovery there as well, and the Gales lead at 21-7. You're watching this Catholic Football League Showdown presented by Catholic Health on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people. All people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
Looking to grow your business on social media? Let Varsity Media help you. With over 50,000 followers across our platform, sponsor a segment during the broadcast and share it on social media the next day. It's the best of both worlds, as you'll get thousands of plays and your ad will live on the broadcast forever. Contact us today for sponsorship packages by calling 917-470-0864 or emailing varsitymediasponsors@gmail.com.
Welcome back to Gold Star Stadium as Iona Prep goes back-to-back touchdowns. Long plays as well. You had a lot of long touchdowns. Every touchdown longer than 34 yards. And this time it was Presley, the 59-yard fumble recovery for the score. The scoop and score after a huge hit by Declan McCauley, the linebacker, on that 4th down attempt. This one will be returned from the 1-yard line. And that is Park trying to get to the outside. A flag is thrown late.
Wonder if a horse collar or a face mask, but see some talking in the background. Frank Maselli had his helmet come off, so that could be the penalty there.
Well, let's see the decision here by the officials. It is a warm day here. Here we go. Well, still a discussion among the officials. This will be against Chaminade.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be a face mask, Dylan, especially when the helmet comes off. Got 6.5 minutes left. You're down 2 scores. I know those timeouts are gold, but maybe if you're Dolan, you think about calling a timeout just to kind of settle your team down and talk it over with them and make sure that everyone's on the same page. But he just spoke to them in the huddle, so I'd imagine that's probably what he's telling them. Take it easy, calm down, forget about it, have a short memory. Let's put some more points on the board.
What you do need to do if you're Chaminade, and it was one of Dolan's keys to this game, is you've got to move the chains here on this possession. You are 1st and 10 from your own 10. And the Gales maybe smelling blood here. It's Gerbasi cutting it to the outside. Forced out of bounds at about the 16. Matt Davitt, the junior, played on the JV team a year ago, part of the New York State Championship 4x100 relay team, along with Teron Johnson.
I can't think of a more exciting athletic event than that, the 4x1s. If you ever have a chance to go to a track meet and only see one match instead of staying there all day, that's the one you got to see. Or the SMR, the Sprint Medley Relay. But, yeah, no, does a good job closing out, in Gerbasi getting some run on this drive for Chaminade.
Stays out there with 2nd and 3. Gets the handoff again. Nice block, good push as well going forward. Gotta love what you saw there from Noah Trauma, 55, who might be the smallest starting offensive lineman there. And listen, he probably would have been a starter last year as well. And Dolan says we probably beat Paramus Catholic in that close game if Trauma didn't pick up an ankle injury day 4 of camp last year.
Yeah, 21-20, the win for Paramus Catholic, and Chaminade will have a chance to avenge their loss next week against the Paladins. But, yeah, it's little things like that, some extra time in the pocket for Dietrich, for Dieguez and the rest of the offense. You never know, Dylan.
First down now, 1st and 10 from the 21-yard line. Tully back in, takes this handoff, goes sideline to sideline. A flag, though, is thrown. And this we do expect to come back. That flag is currently sitting on the 18-yard line. It should be a hold on the offense. I believe it's against Chaminade. There's the call. And again, in the high school game, these are the holding penalties, especially, are killers because they're spot penalties. So if you hold someone in the backfield, that is significantly more than 10 yards.
And not just that, too, especially where Chaminade's positioned in the field right now, too. Not giving a lot of room to run or to pass for their offense.
So this will push you back to the 13-yard line now. And we often see those holding penalties just become drive killers, right? So it's a 1st and 19 from the 13. Granito gets good protection from his offensive line. Flushed out of the pocket, looks for options, and he just hurls it into the Iona Prep sideline.
Smart move there. You don't want to take the sack and all those yards at a premium right now for Chaminade.
Granito just locked into his mechanics, how he plays the game, the preparation film, big weight room kid. He's a kid who understands what to do in different situations. And like a lot of others, his first varsity start, Kevin Dolan was excited to see guys in elevated situations in week 1.
And did a good job of leading the team, too. Really embraced that vocal leadership role in the summer, 7-on-7s, OTAs, and he's earned this spot, not just for his ability, but for what his leadership qualities have been.
2nd and 19 from the 13. Granito flushed out, goes sideline. That one incomplete. Chaminade was in the area, but really good coverage by that Iona Prep secondary.
That's a dangerous throw. If that ball's in the air any longer, Jared Evans is picking it off and taking it to the house. And luckily for Chaminade, just an incomplete, but a 3rd and very long.
And this is getting to be dangerous territory for Chaminade. Again, you do have an excellent punter in Tomlinson, but you don't want to give Iona short field position, especially after getting back-to-back touchdowns.
No, 100%. If you're Chaminade, obviously you want the first down. If you can pick up an additional 10 or 15 yards, then it just helps out your special teams.
Big play here for Chaminade. 3rd and 17 from the 13. Granito back to pass, goes short to Gerbasi. And nothing much doing there. Wrapped up, and it was McCauley again. Declan McCauley. Listen, this is a kid who runs 22 miles an hour. You can't even get down Jericho Turnpike at 22 miles an hour.
No, not at all. And, I think Iona Prep was expecting the deeper pass from Chaminade. They tried to sneak it in underneath, but Hey, when you're running 22 miles an hour, all gas, no brake for Iona's defense, good job getting Chaminade to punt.
Yeah, McCauley, good length as well, 6'1", 220 for an outside linebacker. Another one of those instinctual, smart football players. You've got two guys deep for Chaminade. Tomlinson gets the punt off, gets good hang time on that, pushes. And a fumble as well. That is the best case scenario for Chaminade. No return as it was fumbled by Landon Wiley.
Well, and the biggest reason why Chaminade didn't pick it up was the fantastic block by Adonde Nartley, sealing off the oncoming flyer in Dean Schmidt. Had he not blocked off Schmidt, he would have been right there. You scoop it up, and that would have been a good break for Chaminade.
4:32 left for Chaminade. This is a must-stop situation. Again, we know Bessessi's ability. Iona would love to at least tack on 3 more points. But if you're Chaminade, you want to make sure you keep the Gales out of the end zone here.
And not the worst field position for Iona either.
Joe G gets going. And look at this. A completion and a little bit more as well. Still going is Teron Johnson. So he'll go both ways, and he'll move the chains for the Gales.
Yeah, good job by Johnson, keeping his head up. Someone who, might want to play on Sundays as well. Look at this. 1 tackle misses. Good block over there on the other side. Couple of jukes and pick up an extra 5 before ultimately being shoved out by Hanley.
It'll be a 1st and 10 from the Chaminade 22-yard line. Talk about an embarrassment of riches in terms of playmakers, right? Like you bring in maybe your best guy, definitely your best guy in a secondary, and have him involved there as well as Springer runs for looks like a 1-yard gain.
And you would think with the depth that Iona Prep has that they would just focus Teron Johnson on defense, but he's so skilled athletically, why not have him in your receiving core?
Steve Dowdy optioned out. He might be the best receiver. And look at Springer pushing forward, getting knocked backwards at the 11-yard line. That will move the chains. Another 1st down for the Gales.
He's like a bull, Springer, just lunging forward. Every time he gets tackled, I kind of wince and I want to close my eyes just because of the ACL injuries. But he's been pretty good so far, running downhill, and someone who's been tough to stop today.
1st and 10 from the 11. Another handoff. Look at this. Broken tackle. Touchdown, Crew Davis. His 2nd touchdown of this first half, and he extends Iona's lead.
Crew Davis, 62 yards that have gone to the house for the Iona Gales and Iona Prep Gales, and this is when they start to take over, and you don't want to give Chaminade any hope here. Good job getting out of the backfield by Springer to clear it up. Fantastic block up front, as that was Jaden Nicolau wearing 71 for Iona Prep, opening up the hole. And you could crab walk into the end zone.
So Bessessi sets up for the PAT. It is up, and it is good. So after trailing 7-0, it is 4 consecutive touchdowns for the Gales, who take a 28-7 lead. And you can see the Gales' schedule here this season. Obviously, listen, you go against the best team from New Jersey, Bergen Catholic. Tough week 0 loss. You take on Springfield Central next week, and a big one that we'll have on the Varsity Media Sports Network against St. Anthony's, as the Gales looking to maybe get that championship belt back. That's not the actual championship belt for the Catholic League, but it might as well be.
But that is the championship axe for those of you thinking at home. Yeah, no, listen, it's a gauntlet, right? St. Anthony's, then you get Farrell and Stepanak, your arch rival. Fantastic 4 o'clock start for that one. Cardinal Hayes, who might be one of the best teams, or certainly one of the most dynamic offenses, right, in the league. You saw last night. And then Kellenberg and Moore Catholic. Moore Catholic selected to finish atop the AA.
That's always one of the more difficult parts of the season to catch Hayes. C.J. O'Neal always gets his guys even better. Probably gets the most growth from his team from week 0 to week 8 than any other team in the Catholic High School Football League. Besessi, that will be returned at the 1. Looks like that's Dietrich this time. Nice cut by Dietrich. Another one as well. He's finally pulled down at the 26-yard line.
Well, this is a big moment for Chaminade. You got to put points on the board going into the half. Remember, they're going to get it back next half as well to start it off. So let's say you put 3 points on the board. Now you put down a touchdown on your opening drive. That makes it 28-17.
Or you get 2 touchdowns.
Or you could get 2 touchdowns, right? I might be a little conservative there, but
28-21.
But yeah, either way, that's exactly what you want out of Chaminade. I want to see them protect Granito a little better in the backfield. They've been doing a good job, but Granito's been getting hit after throws too, and that's something that they want to shore up. And like I said, big drive for the Flyers.
And I think worst case, if you're Chaminade right now, is on the board here, you could also play conservative, but you want to make sure you don't give Iona the ball back. A little miscommunication there between Granito and Tully, and Granito is blown up. You can see there that he looked to hand off to the other side. Tully ran the opposite side, and that's the result there. A loss on the first down run.
Yeah, the youth is really shining through for Chaminade, and we know how talented they are, but, it's just a matter of what did Kevin Dolan say, right? Aggressive fire, right? And playing and baptism by fire and just getting in there. And the biggest knock against Granito and the rest of these guys is they just haven't played yet, and they haven't gotten a chance to know each other.
And one thing I don't think we discussed with Dolan in our hour-plus conversation was, does Iona have the edge? Because they do have that 1 week of action as Granito going over the middle. Oh, turning around and spinning, incomplete was Tully. I think if Tully turned the right way to begin with, and I don't know if that was on Tully, right? But when he turned to look for it, he had to turn back again.
Right.
He lost a few steps there, maybe would have been able to make the reception.
And that allowed that secondary defender to get in there as well. He was shaded heavily by Teron Johnson, and then he was flanked also on the other side. I believe that was Jared Evans for Iona Prep, who did a good job in the secondary coverage.
A big third down here for Chaminade. We mentioned you don't want to give Iona another opportunity to put points on the board here in the first half.
And check that, I meant David. I mean, it's not easy to go against Johnson or David one-on-one when they come together. Every step is important, and Tully learned that.
3rd and 12 for Chaminade from their own 25-yard line. A game of field position is what Dolan said, and right now it's slanted towards the visitors from New Rochelle. Nice catch, and a little more after the catch. The big fella, Timmy Battaglia, younger brother of Charlie. We expected to see Timmy involved in the big tight ends. He's the only guy who might go both ways. Also see action as a D end, and nice catch by Battaglia. And there's that yak as well, an important move of the chains for the Flyers.
Yeah, first target since he's gotten on. He's been on for a few series in the first quarter and now the second quarter. And one of the benefits about him is that he's replacing Jack Francesa from a year ago, and that means that the offense doesn't have to scrap 40% of their playbook because Battaglia just gets inserted back in.
Timeout for Iona Prep. Battaglia, 6'1", 231 junior from Piqua. What was the word that Dolan used? Animal to describe him, and that was certainly the case as well with his older brother, Charlie, currently playing collegiate football. Here's a look at Chaminade's schedule after this week. The Paladins come to Mineola as Paramus Catholic makes the trip. You got St. John the Baptist and the big rivalry game. The positive thing, I think, for a young team still trying to feel themselves out, all of those games are at home. So you get the home field advantage, and then the short trip over to Mitchell Athletic Complex for the rivalry game against Kellenberg. Hey, last year when these two teams met, it was a walk-off win in the playoffs for Chaminade right here And then they go on. You're hosting more. You're at Stepinac. You're at Hayes. At Columbia University against Hayes. But there is no easy game on this schedule for the Flyers.
No, not at all. But, Paramus Catholic, even though they're coming out of New Jersey, a very young team at that, and they're trying to rebuild themselves. So they're a team that's trying to get to know themselves. St. John the Baptist, that's another good rivalry. And, hey, St. Anthony's put up 52 on the board yesterday. But, talent versus talent, it's not that much of a disparity.
Granito, he had time, and then he didn't, as Gabe George comes in for the sack. And that was one of those things where you've got to get it off. I mean, if it's not there, you don't eat the sack, certainly. And George, 31 in. And look at this. He has time here. As soon as he stepped up in the pocket, you knew that he was in trouble.
I mean, it looks easier in slow motion. The game is just very fast for Granito right now. And, yeah, that's one of those things where if you're just looking at one receiver the entire time, the defense picks up on it. And if he's not open, you're holding on to it and you get sacked.
Loss of 5, and that was a quick out looking for Park, who as a junior makes his way from Flushing. And Dolan says he's never met a wide receiver as strong as Brendan Park, who has high aspirations of playing at the highest level of college football that he can, and Dolan will not bet against that.
No, and, when you've got someone who's making the trek out to Mineola every day, it just builds his character. And he's got high character guys, and Brendan Park, one of those guys that leaves it all out on the field, and his biggest critic is himself, Brendan Park.
3rd and 15 for the Flyers. Minute 17 left in this first half. Granito gets it to Tully, who's got space. And that's where Tully is at his most dangerous. Tries to push forward. One of the defenders lost his lid. And that is close to the first down marker. I think he gets it. Let's take a look again.
Good job reversing up the field. Timeout called by Chaminade. And, yeah, I don't know if they're going to spot it or see where it is. I think it's going to be 4th and about 2. So that forward progress gets wiped back. Good timeout there by Chaminade. Set up your offense. Try and get this first down and continue your pursuit of putting points on the board.
And as we noticed in the biggest play of the game last night at St. Anthony's, you lose your helmet, you sit out a play. And that's going to be the situation here for Adonde Nartley. So that could play a little bit into what Chaminade wants to do here as well. Nartley, one of the better secondary guys for Iona Prep.
Yeah, no, 100%. And, yeah, that's a tough rule, but it's a good rule. Yeah, these are young high school athletes. You want them to obviously be healthy and not have to deal with any concussion or anything like that with the helmet coming off. So a good job there last night.
We are at Chaminade High School, which opened its doors in 1930. 145 students in their first class. They've got a few more in each class now. It is a large school of all boys, and that brand new athletic field across the way here on Jericho Turnpike. A phenomenal venue, as is Gold Star Stadium, which had its renovations in 2014. Alphonse D'Amato among the famous alums from Chaminade. Big one, 4th and 1. It's Tully out of the backfield, gets a great block, pushes forward, gets the first down. How about Noah Trauma again? Tully feels it a little bit, so he'll come out. Gerbasi will come back in, but Trauma, a huge block, which sets up a first down here for the Flyers. So again, at worst, unless you turn it over, you're keeping Iona off the board. You could even potentially get some points out of this. Granito, plenty of time to operate. Rolls right, chased down by Gabe George, and George gets the sack. And John, another moment there as a quick timeout is called by Iona. You got to get rid of that football.
Got to get rid of it, especially with George coming right at you. The one thing that Granito does not have is his legs as of yet. He's not a mobile quarterback, which is fine. But you're right. You got to get it off, throw it away, and take your chances with an intentional grounding, right? See, dare the officials to make that call if need be.
So George, the transfer from Brookfield, Connecticut, the junior makes the sack, which will set up a 2nd and 20. Here's a good look at the Iona sideline. The Gales, again, mentioned coming off that loss to Bergen Catholic. Week 0 defeat, and we said to Joe Spagnuolo in a conversation, how do you handle that kind of a situation, especially with some younger guys? And he said right away, listen, it is not kid gloves. Not here at Iona, not in the AAA of the Catholic High School Football League. So it's about, listen, we'll look at the film, we'll learn from our mistakes, and we will be a better football team as a result.
Yeah, kind of scoffed at the question, right? Kid gloves. Take it easy? No, we're here to win. And that's a big reason why Iona Prep has been one of the top teams. 46 wins as a team since 2017. That's the most amongst AAA teams. They and Stepanak 1 and 2.
28 seconds left, first half. A 2nd and 20 for the Flyers. High snap. Granito fields it well, takes a step back, and that one was off the mark. Incomplete. 3rd down. And that stops the clock as well with 23 seconds left.
You're at the 42-yard line. You'd love to pick up 10, 15 yards. Try and give Tomlinson a chance if you can, but you got to come up with points this drive, Dylan. You absolutely have to, especially if you're going to get the ball back to start the second half.
Which means you've got to move the chains here. You've got 20 yards to do so. You've got to get to the 24-yard line of Iona. Granito. Intercepted. He tried to find Dietrich, and there he is again. McCauley all over it. It was his sack that forced a fumble that Presley ran back. And now an INT as well from number 40.
I think McCauley's got his name in the hat for player of the game so far with his big impact and fantastic job cutting down the angle, gets in front of Dietrich. An easy pick. Iona, if they want to take a shot, they can. I'd imagine they just take a knee, go into the locker room up 28-7.
I don't know. I think they might have a go. And here you see again just jumping the route. Double coverage there as well. Nartley back in after losing his helmet previously. And you are right. I thought they might give it a go, but they're in that victory formation. So Joe G will just take a knee. Joey Gaston, 2nd varsity start for Iona and the Gales. What a response. It was Tully who started things off for Chaminade with a 51-yard touchdown run, and the Flyers led 7-0. And since then, it has been all Iona. Gaston to Wolf. Davis, 2 touchdown runs, and Presley, a 59-yard fumble recovery for a score. And as a result, it is Iona with a 28-7 lead over Chaminade here at the half. You're watching this Catholic High School Football Showdown presented by Catholic Health right here in the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people. All people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
When it comes to advertising, are you hitting the right audience? Why waste your time with television or a free print publication that's given out at a local deli? Varsity Media has your back. With a following of over 50,000 and a local demographic ranging between the ages of 18 and 54 years old, it's time to get that return on investment. Plus, here's the best part. Your ad lives forever on our YouTube page. And with a large on-demand audience, it's a grand slam to advertise with Varsity Media.
High school sports fans, are you following Varsity Media on our YouTube channel? For the best coverage of New York high school sports, make sure you head to youtube.com/varsitymedia. 3 easy steps. First, hit that like button, and then be sure to subscribe. And finally, tap that yellow bell to be notified of all of our upcoming sportscasts. Thank you for following Varsity Media on YouTube.
Inside the 10 to the end zone.
Oh, he's got a wide open receiver. AJ Duff. Get out of the way! Dante Torres! The end zone. Touchdown.
10-5 touchdown. Did you just have the best athletic year of your life? And now you want to show it off to college coaches? Well, let Varsity Media help you. Varsity Media's college recruiting videos show off your unique skills to help you land a spot on the team of your dream school. We'll provide music, spot shadow effects, and a link to send to your next coach. Contact us today for more information. Don't rely on word of mouth or cold emails. Let Varsity Media help you take your game to the next level. Feel like your game film is too stagnant and not providing you with the insight that your coaches had hoped for? Varsity Media offers game film to help your coaches develop a game plan to execute on game day. Our current clients love the Varsity Media difference, which includes more insightful camera angles and a speedy upload process. Start building your championship team today with award-winning individuals at Varsity Media.
Varsity Media offers live streaming services for any sport. With human beings behind the camera, you can expect the proper coverage angles during each game. We offer customizable options such as live scoreboard, multiple cameras, instant replay, graphics, and even announcers. Find out how you can save $100 off a live stream package with Varsity Media by calling 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net. You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
Hey Mom and Dad, how about a personalized hype video of your athlete produced by Varsity Media? Cinematic coverage of game action, plus on-camera interviews by our crew set to music will make your son or daughter look like the next superstar. Perfect for social media fame and college recruiting. Don't wait, reach out today. Spots are limited this fall. 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Did you know Varsity Media now offers action photography for all sporting events? Available for individuals or teams, we'll send dedicated photographers down to field level to capture your best moments. Our rates are affordable and our photos will leave you with lasting memories for a lifetime. Contact us today, mention this ad, and get $25 off your first order. Email ben@varsitymedia.net or call 516-403-2050. Hey sports fans, did you know Varsity Media live stream broadcasts get viewed by college coaches nationwide? Through our announcers' storytelling and insight on your athletes, we can help your players get an edge on college recruiting. Find out how by reaching out to Varsity Media today, 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Varsity Media is the most beloved high school sports network in New York, but don't take it from us.
I like how Varsity Media, I'm able to watch the game on YouTube after, and then commentators, all the highlights. It's cool to see myself almost on TV.
I like how Varsity Media is so professional.
What I love about Varsity Media is hearing Coach Hungerford announce games.
Mr. Rooney's my favorite.
I like the food reviews.
I love how my relatives from out of state can also watch the games.
Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
Welcome back to Gold Star Stadium here in Mineola, where it is halftime, and Iona Prep has a 28-7 lead in this Catholic High School Football League showdown. Dylan Butler, John Perez with you here inside the press box here at Gold Star Stadium. And John, it was a great start for Chaminade And then Iona's like, okay, we'll take your punch, and we'll throw a few more back at you.
Yeah, not just that. They were able to match their touchdowns and interceptions, but what Iona Prep does so well is they take over pockets of the game, and that's exactly what they did, led by their defense. We saw a sack fumble that went to a touchdown, saw some interceptions in there as well, and really not make it easy for first-time starter Tyler Granito. I think the biggest thing, though, Dylan, aside from the defense, has been their offense and how everybody was eating in the first half. That's led to confidence for the rest of the personnel. It leads to blocks. It leads to just big-time plays for Iona Prep, and a lot to go on the drawing board for Kevin Dolan and his crew if they want to come back in this one. For Iona Prep, pedal to the metal, all gas, no brake. I don't know what the Gales could do any better than what they've done in the first half.
You mentioned they absorbed an opening punch, and what a punch that was. It is our speedy play of the game, and it was Captain Jack to do so for the Flyers right away.
Yeah, Tully was fantastic. He was just out of the backfield, and what a great block, as well as Granito able to get the hard count, and good job by Tully not moving forward on the false start, and then bam, in fourth gear, secondary, nobody in sight. Tully, too easy, to the house, touchdown.
And that is your Speed Islands speedy play. We're calling it now. There might be some other speedy plays, but Jack Tully gets it for the Flyers, and Chaminade certainly wants a little more of that in the second half as well.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly what Chaminade wants, and a good candidate for our speedy play of the game, operated by Onyx Salva right here in Garden City. Boost your speed today at speedislandny.com.
28-7 the lead for Iona Prep. We'll take another break, and we'll have the start of the third quarter when we return right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people, all people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
When it comes to advertising, are you hitting the right audience? Why waste your time with television or a free print publication that's given out at a local deli? Varsity Media has your back. With a following of over 50,000 and a local demographic ranging between the ages of 18 and 54 years old, it's time to get that return on investment. Plus, here's the best part. Your ad lives forever on our YouTube page. And with a large on-demand audience, it's a grand slam to advertise with Varsity Media.
High school sports fans, are you following Varsity Media on our YouTube channel? For the best coverage of New York high school sports, make sure you head to youtube.com/Varsity Media. 3 easy steps. First, hit that like button, and then be sure to subscribe. And finally, tap that yellow bell to be notified of all of our upcoming sportscasts. Thank you for following Varsity Media on YouTube.
Inside the 10 to the end zone.
Oh, he's got a wide open receiver. AJ Tuff. Get out of the way! Dante Torres! End zone. Touchdown.
10-5 touchdown. Did you just have the best athletic year of your life? And now you want to show it off to college coaches? Well, let Varsity Media help you. Varsity Media's college recruiting videos show off your unique skills to help you land a spot on the team of your dream school. We'll provide music, spot shadow effects, and a link to send to your next coach. Contact us today for more information. Don't rely on word of mouth or cold emails. Let Varsity Media help you take your game to the next level. Feel like your game film is too stagnant and not providing you with the insight that your coaches had hoped for? Varsity Media offers game film to help your coaches develop a game plan to execute on game day. Our current clients love the Varsity Media difference, which includes more insightful camera angles and a speedy upload process. Start building your championship team today with award-winning individuals at Varsity Media.
Varsity Media offers live streaming services for any sport. With human beings behind the camera, you can expect the proper coverage angles during each game. We offer customizable options such as live scoreboard, multiple cameras, instant replay, graphics, and even announcers. Find out how you can save $100 off a live stream package with Varsity Media by calling 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net. You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
Hey Mom and Dad, how about a personalized hype video of your athlete produced by Varsity Media? Cinematic coverage of game action, plus on-camera interviews by our crew set to music will make your son or daughter look like the next superstar. Perfect for social media fame and college recruiting. Don't wait, reach out today. Spots are limited this fall. 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Did you know Varsity Media now offers action photography for all sporting events? Available for individuals or teams, we'll send dedicated photographers down to field level to capture your best moments. Our rates are affordable and our photos will leave you with lasting memories for a lifetime. Contact us today, mention this ad, and get $25 off your first order. Email ben@varsitymedia.net or call 516-403-2050. Hey sports fans, did you know Varsity Media live stream broadcasts get viewed by college coaches nationwide? Through our announcers' storytelling and insight on your athletes, we can help your players get an edge on college recruiting. Find out how by reaching out to Varsity Media today, 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Varsity Media is the most beloved high school sports network in New York, but don't take it from us.
I like our Varsity Media. I'm able to watch the game on YouTube after, and then commentators, all the highlights. It's cool to see myself almost on TV.
I like how Varsity Media is so professional.
What I love about Varsity Media is hearing Coach Hungerford announce games.
Mr. Rooney's my favorite.
I like the food reviews.
I love how my relatives from out of state can also watch the games.
Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
And welcome back to Gold Star Stadium. Dylan Butler, John Perez, the entire Varsity Media crew. Third quarter, moments away. The Gales, after trailing 7-0, now lead it 28-7. As we take a look at some of the first half stats in this one. And you can see the rushing yards, the passing yards, and perhaps more importantly, those turnovers, because Iona at least got literally right at. Usually you get like points after a turnover, like you got a fumble recovery, the offense gets on the field. Not the case there, where they get the fumble recovery touchdown as well. You see the penalties even there as well. So a lot of those numbers early on for Chaminade, and then the Gales took over.
I think the penalties are glaring as well as the turnovers, too, for Chaminade, because you're kind of just self-inflicted wounds there. And you're really your own worst enemy, because Chaminade, you saw on the one drive, they were just basically pinned in their own end zone for a few times, and that was tough sledding. They'll get the ball back to start the second half, and now you just have to have a short memory, flush it out, and just worry about one drive at a time. And that starts with the offense. You get a score, defense has to make a stop, and then you just continue to build upon that.
Iona Prep with a little more than 100 more yards total in this first half, 262 to 155. And also, it's funny, too, when you think about it, Iona's 0 for 3 on third down, so you're like, hey, that's great, right? But they're actually 2 for 3 on fourth down conversions, whereas Chaminade 2 for 7 on third downs and 1 for 2 on fourth down conversions. want to give a special shout out and thanks to Joe Giannotti for those first half stats.
And his weather report. It's hot and it's going to rain later. So thank you, Joe. Thank you for letting the masses know.
He said we got to be careful. As that kick goes into the end zone, touchback for Iona, and a long field now for Chaminade. And we'll see what the Flyers, how they respond to this adversity.
Well, it's a big learning moment, right? And it's, as Kevin Dolan says, baptism by fire. You're being fed to the wolves, and not an easy first game for Chaminade, but a great opportunity going ahead. And, you know, for Chaminade, you want to open it up a little bit for Granito and kind of get him in a groove.
Granito 7 of 17 in that first half, 99 yards, but 2 interceptions. And you can see Tully out there as well. He was the workhorse. 8 carries for 72 yards and a touchdown. The flip to Tully, cuts it inside. And good read there by 33, Alex Trulson. Undersized but tough as nails. That outside linebacker, the senior, makes the tackle.
You know, and someone who gets a lot of time in the dime packages and not the nickel packages, but does a good job moving vertically, a good strong side linebacker, and like you said, a little undersized, but he can knock anybody down in the open field.
Yeah, and you know what, too? In that linebacking core of McCauley, Presley, Huguenot, and Trulson, he doesn't have to be the guy, right, as well. So the stats you get from him are all positives. That was only a gain of 1 on first down for Chaminade. Granito, time again, and that time is gone. Sack by Huguenot. 3rd sack of the game for Iona.
Yeah, it's just that they're getting to Granito very quickly, and the offensive line collapses there, and Huguenot fights his way through. Good job. Initial contact by Zakar Morris, who already had a fumble recovery. The line shifted over to the right side. That allowed the hole up the middle, and Huguenot able to complete the tackle for loss.
Huguenot 3 first half tackles. It's his first sack of this game. And it's a 3rd and 15 from the Flyers' 15. Granito. Good read there by Granito. Gets it to Dietrich, who gets hit hard by Davitt. It is short of the first down, but at least in that game within a game, I think that's one where you like it from Granito, because the first option wasn't there. Check down low and did make a completion to Dietrich.
And that's something that's going to grow over time, and him getting used to, you know, receivers being closed in on, and he'll have to go to his B and C option, and sometimes plan B is the way to go, but unfortunately for Chaminade, not able to move the chains, and we'll get to see the healthy boot of Mr. Tomlinson.
And you've got 2 Gales deep at about their own 40. As Tomlinson gets a nice snap, cycles that football up, and it's a fair catch called for at the 46-yard line. So the Iona offense will now step back onto the field. And again, as you mentioned, you know, after taking that opening punch, they've responded well. And how about Joey Gaston? Again, last week, you know, hard to judge him, right? 12 of 19, 81 yards, a pair of interceptions. First half here, solid numbers. 10 of 13 for 134 yards. Did get an interception thrown in the end zone, but he also threw for a touchdown.
Yeah, he just got everybody on board, and was just fantastic. 5 different receivers hauling in a catch, and that'll make any OC very happy.
Here's Gaston. Airs it out, goes sideline, and great defense applied there by Landrum.
Yeah, he had a man down low, or at least all the way down the sideline. That was Rocco Presto, and
one of my favorite names in the Catholic Football League this year.
Over Crew Davis?
They're both great.
Yeah, right in the breadbasket.
But I think in terms of headlines, you can go Presto Changeo. You know, like you could do a lot there. Man in motion is Evans. Handoff up the middle, and there is Springer. pushing forward, getting those hard yards. It was a good first half for Springer as well. 7 carries for 28 yards, a long of 9 yards. 4 different players rushed the football as well in that first half for the Gales.
No, everybody got involved, and that was the same case on defense too, and that's why Iona Prep is picked to finish second in the CHSFL AAA this year. They've just got so many weapons.
Yeah, they are the second seed behind rival Stepanak, a team that returns seemingly everybody, and this time Springer is stopped. Nice push on the middle of that line. We saw Eamon Welsh 3 in the mix, among others.
Yeah, Giancarlo Viscardi also in there. We didn't say his name a lot, Viscardi, but someone who can move the pile as well. A good job on the defensive line, and
they will go again, Iona. I thought they were going to punt here. 4th and 3 from the 48-yard line, and it will force a timeout from Chaminade.
And Chaminade wasn't ready for that, and if you're Spagnola and you were expecting a hard count and trying to get Chaminade offside, that didn't happen, but you do allow Chaminade to waste one of their timeout, or use one of their timeouts. I shouldn't say waste, but you get Chaminade to burn the timeout and make them think a little more.
And there's a good look at Seamus Miller. You see him there, 51 there. How about he picked up this week's Red Bandana Award, which is in honor of Wells Crowther, who grew up in Nyack, loved wearing a red bandana growing up, played hockey and lacrosse at Nyack, and then he went on and played lacrosse at BC. He was an equities trader at Sandler O'Neill on the 104th floor of the South Tower of the World Trade Center, and on the day of the 9/11 attacks helped at least 18 others escape from the South Tower, where he ultimately died. But a lot of recognition for Wells Crowther, and Boston College has the Red Bandana Run every fall. He's also honored in Nyack. Seamus Miller winning that after the CBA scrimmage. No one can win it twice on this Chaminade team. It also honors Jimmy Regan and Ron Winchester, 2 who lost their lives in service for Chaminade, as that pass over the middle is incomplete. Good pressure applied by Luke Cocciola.
Good defensive stop there. And, you know, about the red bandana, Dylan, it goes beyond the playing field, right? And what Kevin Dolan says and the culture that he's tried to establish over the last few years has been giving it to one player once, which is good to, you know, you spread around the wealth. But he'll get these text messages all the time from former winners that are saying, hey, Coach, look, I still got my bandana.
Christian Alakwa wearing it at Notre Dame. They still have theirs and utilize it for what it means, and it's an important award here. Seamus won it. It was interesting, too, as Chaminade takes over on their own 47-yard line. Look, they had that scrimmage at CBA at Albany, and he said to Dolan, listen, I'm going to go home with my dad. Is that all right? As Zakar Morris gets into the backfield and cuts down Tully for a loss, and Dolan's like, yeah, no problem. Just make sure I see your dad before you head out. And then Seamus admittedly didn't maybe play his best in that scrimmage, and it was a little bit slow for Chaminade as well. And at the end of the game, he's boarding the Chaminade bus, and Dolan's like, what are you doing, bud? Aren't you going home with your dad? He said, no, listen, for the way that I played in this game, I've got to be on this bus with my teammates, with my football team. And, again, it does speak volumes of the leadership that you get from Seamus Miller, and that's ultimately why he did get the red bandana before this Week 1 game.
And it just holds everybody accountable, and I think what's cool about this Chaminade group is they hold the coaches accountable as well, too, and that makes everybody better in the long run.
After that loss of 5, Tully tries to get a few back, but he gets back to where he gets up to the 44-yard line, so a gain of 2 for Tully. And this defense just getting tougher and tougher, this Gales defense. And again, it's scary to think they are without Jalen Hicks at this point, the Minnesota commit, who this year has just hit the weight room, his maturity level better than it's ever been, and kind of realizes that football is that means to an end, possibly a career path for him, and that's the way he's attacked his offseason. And that one knocked down. How about the job that Zakar Morris is doing, man? He is a captain, a 2-year starter, 6'2", 280. He's got an INT, and now he gets his big mitts, a pass break up there for the senior.
Those hamburger helper gloves not making it easy for Granito. Tough to block. Almost had another interception or another turnover for himself, and what a day for him. He and Declan McCauley, I don't know what the red bandana equivalent is for Iona Prep, but those two guys spearheading the defense for Iona Prep.
Zakar Morris broke his foot in May, which was during the live period of workouts, so didn't get the exposure as a result, and Spagnola said he's certain as that ball's returned at the 24-yard line, but a short return at that. He's sure that Morris is an FCS level player, but under the radar now because, again, he didn't get those looks in May and in the summer because of that broken foot.
I think that's the interesting thing about Zakar Morris and even Kaisim Springer, right? Two guys that didn't get a lot of playing time because of injury, but still have a chance to make a name for themselves as seniors and maybe might fly under the radar, might play for a lower-level school, but that lower-level school is getting a very talented 1-2 punch in those two players, and that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, we see a lot of players at this level go to the NESCAC schools, right? High-level academics, high-level D3 teams, as well as Gaston flushed out of the pocket, rolls right, showing some good legs there, and little stutter step before he dances out of bounds.
No, good job there, and a fantastic block on the weak side by Jaden Nicolau, number 71, basically with a pancake, yeah.
Yeah, Nicolau, 6'5", 305. A guy that Spagnola expects a breakout season from. He's been on the varsity since a freshman year, but the light bulb is on as there's the out. Good look to Dowdy, flag on the play. Dowdy breaks a few tackles, and he's taken out of bounds, but the flag is sitting back at the 34-yard line. So we'll take a look at this flag. There's an offensive holding penalty.
Always a backbreaker, right? Always the word. You know, whenever you see a big play like that, and you're getting a healthy amount of yards, sometimes you have to look back and hope that there's not any flags on the field.
Yeah, that'll push Iona back to their own 24-yard line. Gaston, good protection, airs it out, goes towards that far side, and another flag is thrown. And considering on where on the field, John, that is, could that have been a pass interference against the Flyers?
Could be that or illegal contact as well. Joe Wolf was stunted going down the field, and
so pass interference on the defense.
Yeah.
So the hold is now negated, and those 15 yards will go the other way.
I know that the penalties were even, at least on our stats in the first half, but they really rearing their ugly head for Chaminade, especially that they're down 3 scores. Just can't afford to give up those yards, or at least get, you know, after a team makes a mistake, give it right back to them.
And these are the things that we do expect early in the season. Not that the two coaches won't be upset about it. They certainly will, but you do kind of expect these kind of things. And as a result of that pass interference penalty, that'll move the chain. So it'll be a 1st and 10 from the 36-yard line. And as we've seen throughout, Iona looking to utilize a lot of motion as Gaston. He has an option there as well, and he's forced out along that far sideline, and it was Coach Iola, the senior from Wantagh, who pushed him out.
You know, Coach Iola, one of those guys that saw the depth chart last year, was a running back, saw that Tully and Gerbasi were going to get a lot of playing time, so he went to the coaching staff and said, hey, I want to play defense. I want to play a lot. I don't want to sit as a senior.
did a lot of work in the offseason. Another flag on the play. Coach Iola had meetings with Mike Dolce, the defensive coordinator, hit the weight room as well. Never missed a 7-on-7. So Dolan says not a surprise that Coach Iola, who was down on that running back depth chart, is a starting outside linebacker here this afternoon.
Yeah, 100%. The hard work paying off and at least giving him playing time.
So 2nd and 11. Off of that penalty, quick out for Gaston. Nice carry by Dowdy. And with Irigovenu and Dowdy, that's where your experience comes among this receiving core. Dowdy, 2-year starter, probably the top returning receiver, the most explosive in terms of his top-end speed.
Yeah, no, 100%. And there's just so much speed on this receiving core for Iona Prep, and really showing it off in their CHSFL opener.
Handoff to Hewlin, and he'll push forward to the 45-yard line, and good control of the clock right now for Iona. They've got a sizable lead, 28-7, and just making sure they continue to hold on to the football.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Try and pin Chaminade back as much as you can. Put some points on the board if you can, but...
And Gaston pushes forward. It was interesting last year, right? He was number 2 on that St. Joe's depth chart. An injury to the starting quarterback, an ACL injury. All of a sudden, Joey, as a junior, took the helm and started 8 games for St. Joe's a year ago. And you think about that schedule, right? It's like Bergen and Bosco and DePaul Catholic and Paramus Catholic. And look out. How about the pressure coming from behind? That should be a live ball. It's still a live ball. Fumbling it, recovering it is Knapp.
Good job by Brian Knapp to stay with it, forcing the fumble, and a much-needed possession for the Flyers.
So Knapp gets that rare forced fumble recovery. Not even on the same. Right there is the forced fumble. And look at Knapp just chasing it down. He's not the first there, but more importantly, jumps, falls on the football, and a turnover. Good play by Knapp defensively.
Yeah, Hewlin couldn't support it, and, might be a wet track down there. It's not raining, but it's very humid, a lot of perspiration, and for Chaminade, they're going to need breaks, and that's one of them.
Knapp, a future leader of men, an Army lacrosse commit from Garden City. So can Chaminade capitalize on this turnover? They need some points on the board, certainly. 1st and 10 from the Iona 46-yard line. Low snap. Granito hands off. And there's Tully getting, Gerbasi getting a couple of yards on 1st down.
For a Chaminade, you want to establish the run too and try and open things up and open up your offense. But you have to look at this time on the clock as well. And I know that there's 5 minutes left in the third and you've got an entire 4th quarter, but Chaminade, you would love to get a score and then have possession going into the 4th. That's what I would consider a win.
Twin receivers at the top and bottom of your screen. Good job by the O-line, giving Granito some time. Gets the outlet, finds Park. Gets the 1st down a little more, pushed out at about the 30.
Yeah, good job by Park coming back, reversing his seam, and big play for the Flyers offense.
Yeah, you move the chains. You get a 1st down at the Iona 31-yard line. You've got Lavelis and Chaminade at the bottom of your screen. Granito, though, looks the other way, over the middle, off the hands of Park. And certainly early on, it seems like Granito is favoring the left side receivers here. It's Dietrich and Park. Not seeing a lot of looks to the bottom of your screen, to Chaminade and to Lavellis.
Right, and Iona's picked up on that as well, and that's been a big reason why they've had success. And I think there's some cramping on the field for Iona Prep.
Yeah, we expect that, and again, in a warm afternoon, which will give us an opportunity to get to know one of the Gales standouts. It's Sam Bassesi. Most memorable moment as a kicker, it was his first live field goal. That happened in 7th grade. Was in love from that moment on. His favorite vacation spot. I thought he said Naples and then also Florida, but it was actually Naples, Florida.
Right.
He's not been to Naples. I mean, maybe he has, but not his favorite vacation spot. Loves the beach. Loves the great food out in Nantucket. Not really a big video game guy, but Madden or NHL 24. Kevin Hart. That would be a pretty cool dinner, right?
I think so, yeah. No, it'd be pretty fun.
Especially if Kevin picks up the check.
Oh, him and his whole entourage are going to be out there.
Yeah,
it's not
right.
just Kevin
right.
Hart. Well, that's a good list there. I'll tell you what, if he ever has the chance to go to Naples in Italy, I think that'll be his favorite vacation spot going forward.
Yeah, you probably can get – you could definitely get some good food. That is for sure.
Oh, yeah, the whole country.
But big Nantucket guy. Thanks so much for Sam for that.
What do you get in Naples, Florida? The early bird special?
Maybe some fried clams or something, right?
Yeah. Great oasis.
2nd and 10. Plenty of time for Granito. Over the middle. That is a great job by Granito going over the middle to find. Look at that. Right on cue, right? He goes to Chaminade.
Chaminade, good job going over the middle, getting some time. Good job by the offensive line as well, especially blocking Gabriel George on the near side as well. That right side of the offensive line for Chaminade has been tested today, and they've stood the task so far.
1st and goal from the 10. Granito forced out, and he's taken down Zakar Morris in on the tackle, as was Dalton Lozen, number 54.
Tried to throw the fade towards Tully, or at least was looking in that direction. The secondary picked him up. That's why Granito had to hold on to it, and by the time he looked for somebody else, the pocket collapsed.
Going back a moment to Chaminade, what a great story, right? When he first came to Chaminade, lived on the Lower East Side, never missed a practice, never missed any team activities. Since, his family has gone about as far from the Lower East Side as you can. They're out in Jamesport, and he's taking that 40-minute drive to Ronkonkoma, taking the train to Mineola. Shows the dedication there that he has. Run by Tully. How about 44 coming in like a freight train there for Iona. Yeah. Frank Maselli.
Brennan Presley in there as well, too. They do a good job gang tackling Iona Prep, too, and that's why it's so tough to put some points up against them.
But if you look at, like if you put a map out there and point out all the spots in the map of where Chaminade guys come from, you go from like Park Slope into Queens all the way out to Jamesport, all to come to this fantastic institution for academics and obviously athletics as well. Only a gain of 1 there. 3rd and goal from the 9. Certainly 4-down territory here for the Flyers. Granito over the middle, looking end zone, broken up. Pass deflection. Looks like it was Codrington. Another pass breakup, which sets up a 4th and goal.
Yeah, Codrington really good, staying all over Brendan Park, who one of those other long commuters and just out of his reach.
Yeah, he comes from Flushing. Park does. Still probably better than
He comes from
Chaminade.
Flushing Park, or he comes from Flushing?
I mean, he comes from Flushing, maybe Flushing Meadow Park, right?
Yeah.
Here we go, 4th and goal. Look out, here comes pressure. Over the middle, incomplete. The intended, a late flag. Dietrich was the intended receiver. It appeared it was broken up by Davitt. But then that flag came out, and this should be a pass interference.
I don't know about that. I'd like to see that again if we could get the replay. Pretty late on that, but either way, Chaminade will take it.
And there's the call, pass interference against the defense. It is still, though, 4th down. So we will go half the distance. It's not that automatic first down that you've got on the next level and the level after that. It is still 4th down. And you go half the distance, which will put the ball at the 4. Fourth down for the Flyers. Handoff to Tully. Nothing doing, wrapped up.
And who else? Zakar Morris, right? Coming in there, stopping Tully, mano a mano. What can you say about the Iona Gales that you haven't said today? Iona Prep has been superb on the defensive end.
You know who he's reminding me of? And I'm putting you on the spot if you didn't talk about this.
Let's do it.
Different team, though, but a rival. How about Wayne Coleman last year? Just everywhere defensively, right? And at least today, that's what – and I think it's the same number, which is making me think of Wayne Coleman. But that's what Zakar Morris is bringing today for the Gales. He has been awesome defensively, just a beast against the run, against the pass. He has the interception, the pass breakup as well, and there's the stop on 4th down as well.
Yeah, no, fantastic job. He's earned everything today and gets a well-deserved breather on the sideline.
And that's the run that you want from Springer, especially when you start off on your own 4-yard line. Doesn't move the chains, but he gets about 8 on that first down run.
I dare you to find a coach that doesn't want 8 yards every carry. The way that Springer has gone, I think the biggest thing, too, for Springer, at least in this early portion of the Iona Prep schedule, is staying healthy. And he's done that so far.
Irrigovenu, he will move the chains. Irrigovenu actually goes to Iona. Who's got a longer commute? Irrigovenu from Middle Village to New Rochelle or Park from Flushing to Mineola? Considering the traffic between Flushing and here, it might be Park.
Oh, yeah, no, it's Park 100% because once you get over the Whitestone, you're fine.
Gaston, flag is thrown, does make the completed pass, but again, that was to Wolf. And we'll see what the flag is. Maybe they lined up offside. We'll take a look.
Yeah, I think it's either an illegal formation or offside. That's what Spagnola is pleading.
No, they will back the Gales up. First and 15 from their own 14. Gaston. Ooh, what a catch. Was he in?
It's going to be awfully close, but a nice grab there.
Irrigovenu using all of his 6'1" frame. Here it is again.
Maybe.
Well, they weren't going to go to instant replay here.
Well, our pylon cam's not working.
And we saved that for the championship game.
Yes.
So 10 yards on that brings up 2nd and 5. Gaston, another flag is thrown. Just inside handoff. Eamon Welsh, we've called his name a bunch. He gets the tackle on Springer.
Yeah, and this will go against the Gales again.
Last night, between St. Anthony's and Cardinal Hayes, it was the second quarter that was start and stop with a lot of flags. This time it is the third quarter, and it is again against the Gales.
Yeah, no, I mean, this has been a quarter where, we've seen, obviously, a lot of flags.
Gaston to Wolf. And again, I think that might be one of the, among the things, but one of the things that you've got to say Iona is among the favorites this year because you've got so many options in the receiving game. Like, how do you defend that, right? Especially for a quarterback who's more than comfortable. Like, he doesn't have a favorite. If he does, he's not showing it today. Gaston faked the handoff, bounces it to the outside. That's a nice upfield block. Gaston gets to the sideline. How about the block by Jared Evans? Evans is all of 5'9", 165, but number 5 just lowered the shoulder and allowed his quarterback to get a first down.
Showing that Harlem toughness, too, allowing QB1, you're right, to move those chains. Fantastic job. There it is right there against not an easy defender to stop, and Dean Schmidt.
And Gaston just kind of feeling it now, right? Says, thanks so much for the block. Here's the ball, Jared Evans. And Evans gets about 8.
No, this is Gaston's world, and we're just living in it right now, or at least he is in the zone. Might be the last play of the quarter, but a fantastic third quarter for Mr. Gaston, even though they didn't put up, a bunch of points. Either way, you have to be happy with what they've seen.
They also haven't given up points, right? More importantly, so they will take a 28-7 lead into the fourth and final quarter. It has been Iona Gales football for much of the second quarter and third quarter as well. And Iona takes a 28-7 lead into the fourth. The CHSFL Showdown presented by Catholic Health right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Feel like your game film is too stagnant and not providing you with the insight that your coaches had hoped for? Varsity Media offers game film to help your coaches develop a game plan to execute on game day. Our current clients love the Varsity Media difference, which includes more insightful camera angles and a speedy upload process. Start building your championship team today with award-winning individuals at Varsity Media. Did you just have the best athletic year of your life? And now you want to show it off to college coaches? Well, let Varsity Media help you. Varsity Media's college recruiting videos show off your unique skills to help you land a spot on the team of your dream school. We'll provide music, spot shadow effects, and a link to send to your next coach. Contact us today for more information. Don't rely on word of mouth or cold emails. Let Varsity Media help you take your game to the next level.
Welcome back to Gold Star Stadium. Dylan Butler, John Perez, the entire Varsity Media crew through 3 quarters. It is Iona Prep. Just about in cruise control here. They've got 355 yards of offense, and they've got a 28-7 lead with the ball to start the fourth quarter. Gaston over the middle. Evans juggles, makes the catch, absorbing the hit by Seamus Miller.
It's a fantastic job holding on to the football, too. You don't want to give Chaminade any hope if you're Iona Prep. Eat as much time off the clock as you can, and if you could put some points on the board, too, that'd be even better for Iona Prep, looking to pick up their first win of the season.
Gaston through 3 quarters, 16 of 21 for 187 yards. That is efficient numbers for the first-year starting QB. And again, filling the shoes of a Johnny Shepard. Maybe not fair to say that. Gets the out to Evans. Evans with a little Harlem shuffle on that far sideline before he's knocked out. Just like at St. Anthony's, it's unfair to say you're filling the shoes of a Dante Torres. You're not also filling in for a Johnny Shepard, obviously. But he's just trying to be the best version of himself in that position. And thus far, the second week of Gaston at the starting quarterback role is a lot better than the first. And the first wasn't even his fault. He just didn't get the pass protection. The snaps weren't coming his way. A lot of unforced errors. This one to Springer out of the backfield.
No, you're right, Dylan, and that's exactly what you want to be if you're Joe Gaston. You just want to be Joe. Be yourself. The coaching staff trusts you, and they're not asking you to be a Johnny Shepard or anybody else, in previous years. be good for the reasons that you are. Joe Spagnola knows his personnel really well, and he feels that he's got a squad that can continue this Iona Prep dominance.
We'll have a timeout for Iona here with 10:24 left in this fourth quarter, which will give us an opportunity. We talked about Sam Bassesi before for Iona. Well, let's get to meet one of the Flyers this year as well, and it is Big Nick Rinaldi. His favorite movie quote: "Every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings," from It's a Wonderful Life. Listen, this go-to, we'll keep this up here for a little bit. This go-to, there's a lot more to it, right? You get the double-double, you get the grilled cheese, which is only $1.50. Nick made sure to mention that as well. You get the fries and the vanilla milkshake. Now, I'm not saying I check that off. That's great for all those. He says you have to dip the fries into the vanilla milkshake. I don't know about that, Nick. Favorite thing about Chaminade is that camaraderie, the competitiveness. How about that? Thomas Gretsch and Jimbo Lavellis. That's the comedic duo he says you've got to experience at least once in your lifetime.
All right, yeah. I mean, hey, we'll do an open mic if they want to come on during halftime.
Some movements on the offense. Yeah, listen, the double-double, I love the call. The grilled cheese, probably underrated because people go for the double-double so much, and the fries, and the milkshake as well.
Listen, no free ads. All-American is just about atmosphere. There's way better burgers out there on Long Island.
Slow down.
And that's what it is.
That's
what it is. I can name 7 different burgers that are better than All-American. It's an atmosphere and it's cheap. That's why people go.
There's a lot of Piqua guys on that Chaminade sideline that you're upset.
Come find me. I'll be here next week, and we'll have this debate.
Right, listen, we're going to put that graphic up, and let's see if you want to take on Nick Rinaldi. And by the way, it's not just Nick. How about that catch? Ranging up is Iragovanu to make the catch inside the 24-yard line. John Perez, are you saying this is the guy you want to take on, 6'2", 285?
In a healthy debate, yes.
You're dissing a Massapequa staple, All-American burger?
There's better staples out there in Massapequa than All-American.
Oh, boy.
Right down the road, Merritt Boulevard, Smoking Owls.
That's the
spot.
But that's not a burger place.
No, but they have better burgers than All-American, and as does everywhere else.
All right. That was John Perez. I'm Team All-American, guys. A lot of former Mustangs on this sideline, on the field for Chaminade. Listen, even Mason Dietrich is back as well from Fordham. I don't want to get the Dietrichs upset. 2nd and 5 for Iona. Gaston cuts it inside, and you know what? That's even a good job there, too. He was chased down, you could see there as well, by Brian Knapp. And did the right thing, right? Doesn't just eat it, cut it inside, and try to get a little something out of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, try and get, whatever yards you can, move forward. You're in field goal range, too. Just continue to put the pedal to the metal for Iona Prep.
3rd and 3 from the 17-yard line. Gaston back to pass, quick out to the 10. Another one of his multiple options at receiver. It was Dowdy, the junior from the Bronx, who will move the chains and set up a 1st and goal for the Gales.
Dowdy's quietly had himself a good game. Good blocker. Up the near sideline has really helped out his running backs and had a few catches in the first half and gets acquainted in the 4th quarter.
Springer sent to the left, and then he fumbles that one out of the backfield. Like the play call, right, where Springer, and as we said, I think if you watch back this game film and if you're the next opponent for Iona, so much movement, right? So many moving parts, not only options in the passing game and the running game, but also just the motion of guys, multiple guys motioning out of the backfield.
That's why they're so tough to stay with, and you need a very disciplined defense.
And they do it again. This time Gaston cuts it to the outside. Great looking tackle by Cocciolo, and there is a flag on the play. But Luke, I mentioned it before, right? Spent the offseason learning the trade at linebacker. And I think he certainly will continue to have that spot. As we take a look at the call, it'll be a hold on the offense, and that'll be declined, which sets up, I believe it's a 4th down. Nope, sorry. Look at the stick down the field, 2nd down. And we'll correct that again. It is 3rd down.
Big opportunity here. You want to get in the end zone for Iona Prep. If not, set up for the field goal.
Look to the end zone, corner end zone, jump ball. And great job defensively. Marshalling the end zone and getting the pass break up.
Yeah, that was just a throw it up and, low risk, high reward. Joe Wolf probably wanted it a little higher. That's some connection that'll definitely work out as the season goes along. But either way, Marshall, not surprised.
So Besessi on for the 26-yard field goal attempt. Trying to get the first points for either team in this second half. Besessi's attempt is up, and it is good. So 26 yards for Besessi. He extends Iona's lead to 31-7. You're watching this CHSFL Showdown presented by Catholic Health right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network. Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is over 50,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck.
Hey Mom and Dad, how about a personalized hype video of your athlete produced by Varsity Media? Cinematic coverage of game action, plus on-camera interviews by our crew set to music will make your son or daughter look like the next superstar. Perfect for social media fame and college recruiting. Don't wait, reach out today. Spots are limited this fall. 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
We're back here in Mineola, and Sam Besessi, 26-yard field goal. And now he looks to try to get this one into the end zone. It'll be fielded at the 1, and it is Brendan Park. Good gang tackling by the Gales, as Chaminade will have the ball at the 23-yard line. So a lot of times in this portion of the game, really for either team, but certainly if you're the team that's trailing, you might not necessarily, they're not waving the white flag. You don't do that at Chaminade.
Right, of course.
But you also play for future weeks, right? And situational things, and how do you respond to adversity? And that's what these guys are looking to do here in the final 7:51 of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, if you build momentum via a touchdown or a big block or running your route the right way, it gets noticed by the coaching staff, who dissects all the types of films.
And a lot of new personnel in there as well for Iona. As Gerbasi kicks it outside, a flag is thrown late. Ball placed at the 30-yard line. So it seems like Iona, it's going to be a hold on the offense. Realizing time and score, it's a warm afternoon as well, right? So they'll have some of their other players on their depth chart get some run now. And there's a lot of them for the Gales this year.
Right, but see, here's the thing, too. Make some big plays against Chaminade starters and start to make Spagnola and the rest of the coaching staff have to make a decision on you getting some extra reps and getting some playing time in pivotal spots. It's a long season. Injuries happen. Other things happen where spots open up, and you want to have a good game film to show to your coaches. 1st
and 10 from the 22-yard line. Granito over the middle, and that's in and out of the hands of Chaminade.
Yeah, just one that Chaminade wishes that he could have had back, and something that he'll, get better at as the season goes along.
Second and 18 for the Flyers. Week 1 for them. Second, it is week 1 also for the Gales, but they had a week 0 game as well. They're looking to even up their record at 1-1. Iona picked to finish 2 in the preseason seeds among the league's coaches. Chaminade the 4. Another handoff. And nothing doing for Gerbasi. Interesting, too, right? Gales, you mentioned 2. St. Anthony's the defending champions, 3. Cardinal Hayes at 5 after Chaminade. Farrell at 6. And then it's Kellenberg and Trinity coming up 7-8. This is a wide-open league this year. I mean, certainly you would say, considering what we saw here today, Iona's got to be one of the favorites. Stepanak, maybe among those upper echelon teams, brings back the most from last year. We saw St. Anthony's. We know the explosiveness, and if it's not Stepanak returning the most, it's Hayes returning the most.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as top-heavy as last year. I still think the top 4 are considerable favorites.
As Granito dances out of the pocket, taken down at the 20-yard line. A good-looking tackle put on by Rocco Presto. Looks like playing on the other side of the ball.
But I think that there's a lot of potential out there. I think there's a lot of upside for Chaminade, obviously. But when you look at the weapons and you see a performance like this, and this is probably recency bias, with the way that Iona Prep is playing against a good Chaminade team, how can they not be at least the early season favorites? I understand how good Stepanak is, and they had a good win against Farrell on the road last night. Farrell, if you're going to go based on the quality of opponent, was picked to finish 6th, right? I think Chaminade 5th, so some power points there, but Chaminade 4th, excuse me. Listen, there's still a lot to sort out.
Oh, absolutely. This is just week 1 of a long season, and we will be there to detail so much of it here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Let's take a look at some of the upcoming games that we'll have for you. We head back out to South Huntington Friday night. St. Joe's and St. Anthony's. They had a barn burner at Rutgers last year, won by St. Joe's, handing St. Anthony's their only loss of the year a year ago. Paramus coming here off of their tight loss last night, taking on Chaminade. And then it's Moore Catholic, Monsignor Farrell. No love lost there. Moore Catholic winning their first ever game against Farrell last year. A walk-off field goal. And then you see Iona, St. Anthony's, Chaminade, and Chaminade, Kellenberg all coming up. A change at QB for Iona as Levi Allschuler checks in, the junior from Manhattan. And there you see again the last couple matchups. St. Anthony, Chaminade, and Chaminade, Kellenberg. Firebirds trying to find a way to replace, if it's even possible, the Page brothers, both now playing Ivy League football.
2 very smart gentlemen, great athletes and scholars, and fun Firebird team this year.
There's a handoff, and a good-looking run by number 41. That's Tim Plunkett, the sophomore from Tarrytown, who will move the chains. And we're seeing second offense as well here for Iona.
No, Plunkett's got a good head on his shoulders, reads the defense well, scurries up ahead, and obviously moves the chains. And one of those guys that is trying to get into the rotation and, hey, why not make some plays, close out the game, and build your momentum going into the upcoming weeks.
Allschuler, a different type of quarterback than Gaston. More of that pocket passer, but look at that. As soon as I say that, he tucks it under, looks to run. Flag on the play. But Altshuler, you like the fact that he's getting in there now, right? He's a program kid. He's been there for 3 years. And smart, understands the offense at a really high level. Just a bit of a different skill set, right, than you get from Gaston.
And that's fine, and that's a good thing to have, too. You're going to need good passers. I still am of the old-school belief in the playoffs, what wins is the ground and pound. But when you've got Altshuler, and listen, injuries happen or, sometimes players aren't available to play, it's good to have that second option, and that's what Altshuler brings to Iona Prep.
It's a good response here from Iona after that loss in Oradell a week ago. And you remember, too, last year they made the road trip, did Iona Prep in that Battle of the Bridge, and they beat Bosco at Bosco. And that really opened up a lot of eyes. As there's a quick out to find Dowdy. Dowdy breaks a tackle, tiptoes it along that far sideline, and he's out of bounds at the 35.
Yeah, nice 15-yard pickup there for Dowdy, and he's had himself quite a good game, doing a little bit of everything. And I'm sure if he was a size 10 instead of an 11, he might have had a few more yards as well.
One of the things that Spagnola wants to see from Dowdy is just health, right? He was banged up a lot in camp. He wants to see him healthy and really making a positive impact. Trips right now for Altshuler with this 2nd and 5. Hands off again, Plunkett. Man, he reads the defense really well in the holes. You can see him kind of navigating his way through, just like you on your way home from Jericho Turnpike.
That's right.
And he moves the chains.
Get all the way to exit 25 on the Grand Central, and that's it.
I will go the other way. I'll head out Northern State to...
all the way out there.
to the Southern State eventually.
See if Chaminade needs a ride. You could get him almost home.
I'm pretty sure that he's covered. 1st and 10 from the 24-yard line. Altshuler, this time nice fake to Plunkett. Finds his receiver. And that was Sincere Santiago. Another Harlem product. And that's so interesting, too. I think especially in that part of the Catholic High School Football League with the Stepanak, Iona, Hayes, that sort of triumvirate, I think it's so interesting because you're pulling kids from each area, right? Like there's a lot of Harlem kids and Bronx kids obviously on Hayes, but they're going to Stepanak, they're going to Iona as well.
No, 100%, and it's really not that far of a drive if you can get there, and some of the best talent in the boroughs.
Nice fake by Altshuler, but it takes a hard hit.
Yeah, that was Dean Schmidt who came in and kind of laid the lumber, and Altshuler shakes it off.
Schmidt doesn't care what is his first offense, second offense, third offense. He's still laying the lumber like it's a game that's still not decided, which you want to see as a coach for sure. As the clock continues to wind here in this 4th quarter. Altshuler motions Plunkett out. He'll go the other way as another completed pass and another option receiving. Seamus Darcy from White Plains makes the catch.
That a little closer to Iona Prep, and the Gales, if they get the first down, the game's over here, especially within 2 minutes. Would love at least for some positive momentum to get some points on the board just for the second team, but no need to run up the score either. Iona Prep taking their time. They might even just take a timeout if they don't get the playoff. But either way, just a fantastic effort end-to-end for the Gales today.
And this is the sportsmanship that you see here a lot in the Catholic High School Football League as well. You could easily get another Bessesi field goal, right? But Plunkett pushes forward. And it looks like he will get the first down, which will now bring out victory formation surely for the Gales.
I think the rest of the Catholic League learned a lot what they already knew about Iona Prep, and they've got so many weapons. They're a well-formed team, a well-oiled machine at that, and they got it done defensively on the special teams and took over on offense, and you can't have just one player of the game. It's a parade of players of the game today for the Gales.
Well, might run one more play here. It's a handoff, cutting to the outside. And that was Sincere Santiago. Iona will improve to 1-1. They'll bounce back off of that 38-7 loss at Bergen Catholic a week ago. They'll host Springfield Central from Massachusetts next week. Home opener for the Gales there at Mara Field. And Chaminade will look to bounce back themselves as they host the Paladins of Paramus Catholic. And there is the knee. And the cheers coming from the Iona Prep fans who liked what they saw here in a 31-7 win.
Hard not to like what you saw out of Iona Prep. A big win, wire to wire essentially, after Chaminade was able to punch back, get some stops in the first quarter. Then it was all Iona Prep. Coach Bagnola has to be proud of his team and what they got today. You shake off the rust from the Week 0 loss to Bergen Catholic, and now you just hope to build momentum and build a championship potential team.
Yeah, so we'll see Chaminade next week, part of our Varsity Media Sports Network broadcasting weekend. We'll be at St. Anthony's, much like this week, rinse and repeat for us. We'll be Friday night, St. Anthony's, St. Joe's, Montvale against the Friars, and then Saturday afternoon back here at Gold Star Stadium as Paramus Catholic comes to Mineola as part of that battle of the bridge. So that'll do it here from Mineola for our entire Varsity Media crew here. Our executive producer, Ben Turchin. Our technical director doing a great job this afternoon, Ron Pierre. For Travis DeLuise and Angelo Caiezo, bringing you all the moving images. For my broadcast partner, John Perez. Dylan Butler, thanking you for joining us from Chaminade. And we look forward to seeing you next time right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.